and thank you for joining us tonight to a pretty exciting evening of coverage for the election, special elections. We want to thank EOAlive and Brent Clapp Media Services for hosting our night tonight. I've got two very important guests with me. Please take a second to introduce yourselves.
Hi, I am Bree Troutman. I have Bree Troutman and Associates American Family on Depot Street in LeGrand, and I'm also a host here on EOAlive.
And I'm Corinne Brujati. I am the publisher of the Observer and the Baker City Herald and the sales director for the EO Media Group's East Side newspapers.
I am in some very good company. We're in good company together, along with you at home, our viewers, and thank you for taking time to tune in. We've got a lot to go over, and here's some ground rules, or not rules so much as some parameters of what we're doing. Yes, you may have heard we will be reaching out to candidates and getting their take on the campaign trail and some things they've learned along the way, and we, believe it or not, gotten a lot of results from that. A lot of people giving us feedback from it. We're going to get a hold of these candidates. You get to hear from them exclusively here tonight on Brent Clapp Media Services and EOAlive. Very excited to hear from them. Now, here's the thing, though. We know that the campaign is over pretty much for this session. For this,
it's decided.
It is decided. So we won't be hearing much of, I promise to do this, this, and this. It's really going to be more of a takeaway. What did you learn when you were on the campaign trail? And we're pretty excited about this as we go into the primaries, at the end of the primaries. So here's the thing. The question has come back a lot around what are primaries? What does this mean for us who live here in Northeast Oregon? And we look at this time and who we're voting for. Is this it? Is it over? Is it done? Well, here's the thing. The primaries really mean, what it means is the party's going to choose their nominees, and we vote on those nominees to bring the last ones into the final voting time period in November.
Correct.
But, okay, now there is a question that I have for both of you, because as we started looking into this, there's this 50% issue with a couple of the races, the sheriff's race and I believe the county commissioner race. So tell the viewers, what does that mean as far as the 50% rule?
So the county commissioner race, I would anticipate will be decided tonight. So you have two candidates that are running. You have Michael Berry and the incumbent, who is Donna Beveridge. So as long as one of them walks away with more than 50% of the vote tonight, that race will be decided. Now we have the sheriff's race. So we have 4 candidates that are vying for that seat. And unless we get one candidate that runs away with more than 50% of the vote, we'll likely be taking the top 2 from tonight, and then there will be a runoff in November.
Okay, which we're all following the sheriff's race very, very closely because it is a highly contested race. As far as the 4 candidates are concerned, because we've got some phenomenal people involved, some phenomenal men have thrown their hat in the ring to become our county sheriff. Now, Bree, talk about, there are some unopposed races. Tell us about those.
Yes, there is the assessor, tax collector, and surveyor race, and they are both running unopposed.
Okay, so good for them. They're in. It's done. If I understand
Unless
that correctly.
there's some write-in candidate that comes out of nowhere, some dark horse that we don't know about, that one will be decided tonight too.
I think we all wrote Corinne Brujati's name.
I hope not.
So Corinne Brujati, thank you for being our new county tax assessor. Oh boy. All right, well, good stuff. So let's go into, we're going to take our first break. And pretty excited now, what you're going to get the treat of seeing, we've got a local band who's going to be bringing you into the breaks as we go into the commercials, and to thank our sponsors, because we've got some phenomenal sponsors who have stepped up and said, we care so much about the elections, we care a lot about our politics, local politics. Maybe we'll be a little more neutral, we're going to be unbiased in this, but we want to be expressing our support of that. So we've got some phenomenal people sponsoring, businesses sponsoring our night tonight. But we will be going into the break listening to a band, and the band is?
It's the Wasteland Kings.
The Wasteland Kings. All right, so without further ado, you're going to have the treat to listen to the Wasteland Kings, have a couple commercial breaks, and we'll be right back after this message.
Well, have you seen my guitar man? It's baby blue like a dead man's tan. It's just some wood and steel string, but I still love to hear it sing. But it got hogged by my best friend. It's hard to say where the money went. Here and gone in just one day. I knew I'd get it back someday. I knew I'd get it back someday. Have you seen my guitar, son? Just like you, it was my first one. A beat up dirty dime ring, but I still love to hear it sing. Oh, I still love to hear it sing. Have you seen my guitar, man? It's baby blue like a dead man's name. It's just some wood and steel string, but I still love to hear it ring. I still love to hear it ring. He got hot by my best friend. It's hard to say where the money went. Here and gone in just one day. I knew I'd get it back someday. I knew I'd get it back someday. I knew I'd get it back someday. I knew I'd get it back someday.
Good
Okay, welcome
evening,
back.
everybody. Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. We're glad you're here. Okay, so we're going to be talking to our first candidate in a second. All right, so here's the question. We've been talking a lot about what this means as far as the primaries go, thinking about what's important to Northeast Oregonians, as well as local people here in our small communities in Union County. So here's a question, ladies. When you think about our communities and what is important to our viewers and to you and I, what would you say some of the key issues are when it comes to Northeast Oregonians, specifically people here in Union County? Go. What do you think?
I, for one, would say family wage jobs is a huge issue here.
Yeah, I totally agree. Getting family wage jobs is vital, especially as we move forward with our economy. Thank you. I think our viewers would agree. Family wage jobs are vital, and we have to have them for the health of our communities. What do you think, Chris?
So I think what's going to be interesting is that for so many people, my sticking point is going to be different than what Bob's or Bree's sticking point is going to be, what's going to be important. And I think a lot of it falls on like your family values. Just making sure that your voice is heard, whatever that voice is. Because I think in rural Oregon and northeastern Oregon, sometimes we feel like that isn't heard, especially on the other side of the state. So I think family wage jobs is a great one. I think some people would say healthcare is another one. Other people would talk about climate change. Economic development is a big one that people are talking about too. So I think it just depends on what's important to you. But again, it's going to be different for everyone.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So it looks like we've got Michael Berry on the phone. Bree.
Michael is running he's our Union County Commissioner candidate. He is the fire chief for Imbler Rural Fire. Michael, are you there?
Okay. We expected this, by the way. We expected this. This is good.
Yeah,
okay.
This is so hard. There's always technical difficulties that come up when we're trying to get people on the phone.
Right.
Oh, we've got him.
Michael, are you there? Hello, Michael.
Okay. So we'll come back.
Okay.
We're going to come back. So we'll get Michael on the phone because we do want to hear from him. Very important. We've got a good race there with our county commissioner position, seat 3. And so that's between Donna Beveridge and Michael. I believe I'm accurate on that one.
Yeah, Donna Beveridge.
Thank you. Okay, so we've got a good race going on there. Unknown where that's going to go. We've got an incumbent, and we've got we've got him. All right.
Michael? Hi, Michael. Can you hear me? Michael, this is Bree with Eastern Oregon Alive. Are you there?
Sorry, guys. Let's banter a little bit.
Okay, we do not have him yet.
Hello.
We're working on it.
I can hear
we do
you
need to hear
now.
from him, though.
Oh, hey.
So let's go to, I want to talk a little bit more about something you said, Corinne. When we
I
as
can hear you,
voters-
but I barely hear them.
Yeah, you
Okay.
can't hear them. Okay.
Okay, so let's go into what you talked about a second ago when it comes to accurate and healthy representation, because we live in a remote area versus a higher densely populated area.
We're having.
Talk about what that means as far as accurate and good representation for our folks here in Union County versus the 2 or 3 counties that dictate
Right,
the whole
the
state.
west side of the
yeah,
state,
talk
yeah.
about that.
So I think the biggest thing is, like I said, just making sure that you're choosing a candidate that feels like they're echoing or what they're saying resonates with what your values are, what your beliefs are. I think people are going to feel better about taking a candidate like that and bringing them in. And then just making sure that, whatever it is that you hold dear to you, that's something that they're willing to go to bat for.
Right. Couldn't agree more. And I think too, especially viewers, because our voting should be done by now, but I hope that what you did is you took the voter registration guide and any information you could Google or find online and voted for the best candidates who would represent our morals, our values, and our standard of life much better than, say, another candidate who wouldn't.
It shouldn't be a popularity contest. It should be
No.
really based on their qualifications. Are they qualified to do the job that they are applying for?
Right.
And then again, does their voice resonate with your belief system or the things that you hold dear?
Absolutely. And I think, too, we do want to say this from the 3 of us to the viewers. We want you to know we do thank those who are running. We are grateful for the excellent round of candidates that we've seen throw
Absolutely.
their hat in the ring. I think it says a lot. So thank you for that. Okay, so I do want to go to another question while we're waiting to get some of our guys on the phone. With our current
I'm on the
economic
phone.
climate.
Oh,
Oh,
did
I
you
think
hear him?
I just heard him. Okay, so Chris, are you there?
No, this is Michael Berry.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Michael, are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Oh,
He's here.
great. He's on.
Hi, Michael. It's Bree with EOAlive. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. So, Michael, could you talk a little bit about your takeaways from the campaign this year, and what are some things that you learned?
Well, I can tell you that this isn't a normal campaign year. Not that I have a lot of experience running for office, but there weren't any meetings to go to, and it was hard to go door to door. People looked at you with suspicion because of the COVID lockdown, and so it was abnormal campaign season, I would guess. I think putting yourself out there. I mean, you certainly grow a lot of respect for the people who are willing to run for office, and I have a lot of admiration for anyone who's willing to throw their hat in the ring, whether it's my opponent or any of those sheriff candidates or anyone out there. So those are the things that I took away from it. It was just a difficult year to run, I think, for everyone. Just the fact engaging with people is more difficult. I used a lot of social media. I think, I had some great radio ads. I have a good committee that helped me through that process. But, it was a tough year.
What was the response from people when you went early out and were doing door-to-door campaigning? I would imagine that you were doing that sort of early on, like maybe in February or the beginning of March. Did you get good reception from those that you went and saw, or?
Yeah, actually,
Good.
I think, that's my strength is introducing myself to people and talking about my resume. I mean, that's really what my candidacy is about, is a really strong resume that, has a lot of experience and a lot of different exposures to different, both leadership and governmental experience in terms of getting things done, delivering projects, delivering policies, those kinds of things. So, I have a good story to tell, and when I could tell it, it was well received.
Good to hear.
Excellent.
Yeah, that would be a challenge with the COVID and not being able to go door to door so much. Okay. Any other questions for our candidate?
Not that I can think of.
All right.
Michael, thank you so much for your time.
We're glad that we could get you on the phone, Michael. Did you have
Yes.
anything else that you wanted to say?
No, I just appreciate the opportunity to talk, and I just want to congratulate everybody who ran, whether they're going to win or not. And it was a tough year, and tonight I have a budget committee meeting for the fire department. So leadership and governing doesn't stop just because there's an election day. So
That's right.
No,
Yeah.
it
I'd like to
doesn't.
get that done.
Well said. Well said. Well, Michael, thank you for taking time out of your busy day and busy evening. We appreciate you very much, and we wish you all the best and much success to you.
Thank you.
Good luck, Michael.
Yes, good luck, Michael, and thank you. Looks like we're going to head into our break now with the Wasteland Kings.
We'll be right back.
You were soft as sand after drowning in the ocean, like a highway sign. I've been gone for years, and life moves by like a coaster in motion, and I'm holding on like a scared kid, letting me down softly. I won't get up again, fall too hard, let me down. Easy, oh, I'm holding on like a scared kid. I was fast asleep, but I wasn't even tired. I open my eyes, it's a perfect day. Only my stories make me a liar, telling tall tales like a scared kid, letting me down softly. Won't get up again, fall too hard, let me down. Well, I'm holding on like a scared kid. You were soft as sand after drowning in the ocean. Open my eyes, it's a perfect day. And life moves by like a coaster in motion. And I'm holding on like a scared kid, letting me down softly. I won't get up again, fall too hard, let me down. Easy, well, I'm holding on like a scared kid. Well, I'm holding on like a scared kid. Well, I'm holding on like a scared kid.
About where we're going as a county and really dive into getting to know these candidates on the tail end of their big run. And it's pretty exciting to hear from them directly. So I believe we have Bobby Levy on the phone. So Bobby, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hey, good evening, Bobby, and I appreciate you taking our call and appreciate your time this evening. And I know you have had a heartfelt drive towards success. And so welcome to Eastern Oregon Live TV and Brent Clapp Media Services. We just have one simple question. We're not going to ask you anything deep. Don't worry. You can take a deep breath. The campaign is hopefully there. But tell us some takeaways that you came to mind as you reflect back on the race so far today and some things you've learned along the way when it came to your campaign.
Well, the first thing I've learned is that this is an incredibly humbling experience because you're going out and meeting people face to face, and which I got to do quite a bit of before COVID-19 hit. And you hear the personal stories. So I was lucky. I met county commissioners, the sheriffs from all the counties. I met a bunch of business people and all of the superintendents of school systems and the colleges, the community college and Eastern Oregon University. And you hear the problems that the communities were getting ready to face because of the taxing situation. And then COVID came along, and now it's an even more dire situation. And it means that my job, should I'm lucky enough to receive the Republican votes to continue on through the general and be elected to serve and represent everybody, it means my job will be that much harder. And I will need to focus more time on seriously listening, even more than I've been listening now, and trying to make sure that everybody's voice is heard.
Yeah, yeah. And Bobby, I think your takeaways you're spot on. You know, we are hearing from candidates that the COVID-19 pandemic did put an interesting twist on how you get out and connect with people in our community. And, you know, we were talking about that at the break too, that when it came to less face-to-face, less gatherings, more social media, more media in general, talk about how you felt about that. Do you feel better? Do you feel that it made a difference? Do you feel like it hurt the campaign a little bit not being able to meet face-to-face? What are your thoughts around that?
Well, first of all, I'm a real people person. I really enjoy getting out and meeting people and being one-on-one and hearing what other people have to say. So that kind of shut my voice off. So I had to figure out a way, and I have a really wonderful campaign manager And he has worked on other campaigns before, and I've had a lot of help from Alex McHatted in the LeGrand area and Whitley Schiller, who has been my right-hand person from day one. And they have helped me develop mailers and all sorts of social media posts and that kind of stuff. But I've really missed the one-on-one and getting to visit with people, because I think that is the most important part. And I'm really looking forward to doing that again. On a smaller basis, evidently we have to be less than 10 or less, and then maybe 25 or less next phase. So, but you'll start seeing me again in June.
Right. Perfect. Bobby, I just want to say thank you again for your time this evening. Good race that you've run. Any other questions that you'd have for Bobby?
No, just wish her luck. And thank you for taking the time to be with us tonight, too.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Goodbye. Okay, so two candidates have brought this up, and what I want to do is take a quick second and go to our experts, our panel of experts, because in truth, I'm standing next to two very highly qualified people who are engaged in our local community. They have a good finger on the pulse as to where we're going and what people think. And so I do want to ask you, when it comes to this idea of not being able to go door to door or hold town halls like we would be used to, the forum we held a few years ago, we had hundreds of people in the room. Can't do that now. Candidates can't even go door to door and knock on the door. So let me ask you, effective or not effective? Even before the COVID thing, do you think that people really were concerned if a candidate knocked on their door and introduced himself one-on-one? Did it matter? Did it help you make up your mind? Tell us. What do you think?
Okay, so I'm going to say, from a personal standpoint, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. I was not a huge fan of the door-to-door. I understood that it was probably very effective for a lot of candidates, and there were probably a lot of voters that appreciated it. I think for me, I don't want to be seeked out. I would rather go to the candidate or get my information my own way, as opposed to feeling like it was being pushed on me.
Okay.
That sounds
All
awful, and I can't believe that I'm saying that out loud, but I like to come up with my own sort of decision about which candidate I'm going to choose based on, the information that I seek out, as opposed to having them come door to door. And I think that for the candidates that use door to door, it probably is super effective for them. But unfortunately, in the time that we're in now, that's over. I mean, I can't imagine that us ever getting back to a place where people are going to feel comfortable with that, or that it would be appropriate. Okay. So I think it's going to change the whole landscape of how candidates market themselves or get their messages out to people. They're going to be relying a lot more on newspaper advertising, radio advertising, social media, more big signs and billboards, and they're going to have to get creative in the way that they get their message out and get their face in front of people.
And that's it, creativity. So you're saying not effective. Necessarily, it's not effective.
Not for me personally.
And which I think that you would represent a segment of our community where some watching would say, don't knock on my door. It doesn't matter. I'm going to do the legwork myself, and I'll figure it out. Thank you very much. Now, let's go to Bree. What do you think? Effective, not effective?
Personally, I appreciate the personal touch. I had some candidates stop by my office a couple times, and I really appreciated the fact that they took the time out of their day to come down, introduce themselves, talk about their platforms and their concerns. And I think it makes a big difference, that personal touch and getting the one-on-one time to actually be able to ask questions that.
Sure. Okay, which is a whole other dynamic, because
okay, Bob, we're going to throw the question to you.
As the facilitator of the night, I opt out of that question. It's too scary. No, in all seriousness, though, you who are watching at home, we who are here today, it is an interesting dynamic, because whether they knock on your door or whether they don't, where do we receive our sources of information? Newspaper, radio, social media, billboards,
voter
pamphlet. We all have our source where we gather that information, make our decision.
So I think the other thing too is, a lot of people, the circle that you surround yourself with, your friends, your
Absolutely.
family, they commonly share the same beliefs that you do and values. And so I think a lot of people look to their friends, their family, their coworkers, the people that they surround themselves with as sort of a good gauge about which candidate they should be
Sure.
endorsing or supporting too.
Sure. And I would challenge that because I'd say, okay, independent thinking, herd mentality, where are we with our society? I don't know. I know we have a lot of opinions and we will be careful where we tread on this subject. Okay, with that said, thank you. Good spirited conversation. Hey, we're going to go into another commercial break. I want to thank you again for tuning in. Brent Clapp Media Services, EOAlive TV. We are here tonight with our primary show to see where we're going to be going for our election. We will have election results actually tonight about 8:15ish, I believe. Yep. So stay where you are, stay tuned. We've got the Wasteland Kings. What a complete treat it is to have them join us tonight. Anyway, we'll be right back after this word. Okay. So
5 minutes.
Grand is in trouble. Even before COVID-19, Union County had a 22% child poverty rate, 16% food insecurity rate, and 5% unemployment. We need an experienced and passionate leader to fight for a new normal. Alex McCadad is running for mayor of the Grand. As a local government leader, he battles for funding and support for our community in Salem every year. Join him in renewing the Grand by promoting a business-friendly climate, increasing city transparency, and plowing our roads. Visit www.alex4.us for more information.
Coming for to carry me home was a band of angels coming after me, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. But if you get there before I do, coming for to carry me home, tell all my friends that I'm coming too, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Well, I looked over Jordan, but what did I see? Coming for to carry me home was a band of angels coming after me, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home.
Hi, welcome back, everyone. This is the EOAlive TV Election Night Show. I am Corinne Brajati, and I am here with Bob Kavanaugh and Bree Troutman. And we've got Donna Beveridge on the line. Donna is our current county commissioner, and she is running for re-election. Donna, are you there?
I am here.
Hi, Donna. So we're asking everyone the same question tonight. We're just looking for your takeaways from this year's campaign, what you want to share with us, the good, the bad, the ugly.
Okay. It made it a little difficult because we couldn't meet. So there were a lot of things that I had planned where I was going to go talk to different groups and answer questions and that kind of thing. So that part was difficult. The forums where we could each have the same question asked and, get different views. But at the same time, with Facebook and Zoom and that kind of thing, we were still able to communicate. And for me, the most important thing was for me to keep continuing to do my job and do it to the best of my ability. And hopefully people would see that and know that I really care about the county and that I want to continue serving as county commissioner.
So I've always wondered if do you feel it's obviously harder to campaign when you're doing the job because you have less hours in the day to be trying to reach out to people or to make those contacts. Did you struggle with that more this year?
Yes, I did because I wanted to make sure I was on my lunch hour or after hours before I talked to people. And so absolutely, it's more difficult because you're busy doing your job. And of course, with this job, I just got out of a budget meeting a few minutes ago. So it's not like you have an 8 to 5. And yes, campaigning was more difficult because you're so busy doing the job. So there's a fine line between that. So yes, that was harder than when I ran the first time.
And last time around, did you do a lot of door-to-door campaigning?
Last time I went to tons of meetings,
okay.
And I did do door-to-door, but I just went to every meeting I could find. I would just attend and learn and listen and meet people. That's pretty much what I did the first time. And that, of course, we couldn't do that as much this time. So
no, it's become harder. Is there anything else that you want to share with us about your campaign this year?
I enjoyed meeting some new people that I hadn't met before and answering questions. I put the card that I put out on Facebook and that I handed to people had my personal cell phone on it. And I just asked people, please call me if you have a question. And so I did get to have some one-on-one conversations that I thought were really awesome for me and for the people that I talked to.
That's fantastic. Donna, we were glad that you could take a few minutes of your time tonight so that you could meet with us. So thank you for giving us a call.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, good luck, Donna.
Good luck, Donna.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
That was Donna Beveridge running for re-election for her county commissioner seat. And I think at this point, we're trying to get Shane Rollins on the line. So in the meantime,
okay,
Bob.
Perfect. And again, to our candidates, thank you for joining us via call. I think there's a theme, though, with our candidates, and they are talking a lot about how they got creative in communicating to their constituents and those potential voters who could come alongside of them. Mm-hmm. Very, very interesting to hear that. Again, looking to their creativity. So here's something that we are talking about as well. And as far as when it comes to dialogue in our community, one of the things that we have picked up is that there are two camps, really, that people are falling on. One camp is, yes, it is time for change. So whoever the existing person is in that position, we're ready to have a change, get someone else in there. There's the other camp that says, not a time for change. We do not think this is a good time to switch out, to make a different, or to make a change with a specific job category. So what we wanted to do is ask, do you think this is a time for change, meaning new this, new that, or do we keep going in the direction we're going because of what we're going through in our current society? So Corinne, start us off. What do you think? Time for change or not?
So this is a really hard question because I go back and forth on it. I think right now for a lot of people, there is so much change. Just your everyday life, the way that you operate, from the beginning of your day to the end of your day, right. Everybody's work environment has changed. Completely. You have kids that are not going to school right now and they're operating, doing distance learning. That's a change for everyone. I know, within our office at the Observer, I have 75% of my staff that's working remotely. We have a skeleton crew that's working within the office. Everybody's socially distanced. We can't be open to the public. And those are just small changes that have been in my personal world. For a lot of other people, they've been far more impacted than that. So I think in the current situation, I think more change is almost scary for people. But then you're going to have people in the other camp that are going to say, well, we've just thrown everything up in the air anyway. We might as well, we might as well just change everything. Or they feel like maybe the current administration or the current people in office might be to blame at, to some degree about the way that we're trying to navigate the pandemic right now. And so they might be pointing fingers necessarily or unnecessarily at the people that are in their current position. So
well said. And it's tough to know the mood. And that's really what we're talking about. And so I think you have a unique position. So let's go to Bree. Bree, what do you think? Is it for most of the society or most of our area in Union County, are people thinking time for change, or no, let's just keep what we got and move forward?
I have honestly heard both sides a lot lately. So it's a really tough one to gauge, honestly, because I've heard a lot of people saying that it is time for change, and then a lot of people that are very happy with the way things are. So
interesting. It's
gonna be exciting to see what happens tonight.
It will be, absolutely will be. And so as we think about going forward, and I think the two of you have a unique finger on the pulse, so to speak, on where we are and where Union County is feeling, or what we're feeling. And so even there's a little thought of, I don't know, maybe yes, no. So anyway, okay, it sounds like we do have...
We've got Shane Rollins on the phone.
I think we got him, so take it away.
Sounds like we've got Shane. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Fantastic. Thank you for joining us tonight.
No, thank you for having me.
So we're just asking all of the candidates the same question. We're just looking to hear your takeaways from this year's campaign.
Well, quite honestly, it's definitely flipped our world upside down, and we kind of knew it was going to do that. But the biggest thing really that I really enjoyed was getting out there and speaking to people one-on-one and really truly listening to hear what they had to say and, their different trials and tributes that they had, or maybe some certain ideas that they would like to see, happen within our county. And I found that very interesting, and I learned a lot from doing this campaign. And then, of course, like you've said and you've been talking about, when this COVID hit, that really, hit me in the stomach because, my whole game was getting out there and knocking door to door and, beating the streets. And then when this happened where I just couldn't get out there, it really put a damper on things. So, with EOAlive, doing what they did, the Observer and everything else, that was absolutely fantastic. And it really got the campaign going and moving forward, not just for me, but everybody. And I think it really got a lot of people in the county interested in it.
I think you're right. Yeah. So did you start out, when did you kick off your campaign, Sean, or Shane? What time was it in February that you started, or?
Yes, it was right after Bill Miller threw his name in the hat, and I came in right after him and just went and hit the ground running.
Yeah. So Shane, real quick, I had the privilege of meeting you via EOAlive. So as far as your takeaways, can you tell us one of the things that you really felt impressed with when it came to the counties? You got out and met with them when you could, but then started more getting creative in how you reached out to people. What are some of the takeaways around the people that you rub shoulders with in a distance, right? A distance. Just talk about that.
6 feet.
Well, I think the biggest thing I think is just that good wholesome living, that family oriented, and the great families that are around in this valley, and they all want the same thing. They just want to, have a nice place to raise their families, have a good job, and just have that. Really provides that. We live in a beautiful valley, and that's what draws a lot of people here. So really, across the board, I think that's what I got. Just everybody, just wholesome families.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. We are a very family-oriented area, that's for sure. Okay, any other questions that you guys have?
I don't think so. We just wish you so much luck tonight.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
We appreciate you, Shane. Thanks for taking the time out of your evening.
Thank you.
No worries. Thank you both.
Thanks,
all three of you.
Right on. Okay, so
I think we're going into another commercial break and a little bit more of the Wasteland King, so we'll be back in a few minutes.
baby got 'em bird, honey got 'em bird the same. My baby got 'em bird, honey got 'em bird the same. But without Corina, it sure don't mean a natural thing. I learned how to love you, baby, before I called your name. Baby, before I called you, honey, before I called your name. Got a rainbow around my shoulder, baby, you're my woman, let me be a warm heart's flame. Baby, you're my woman, let me be a warm heart's flame. Corina, 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 Corina.
We have a little different atmosphere than any other place. You know, we kind of designed this place to be like a beer hall. We don't have TVs, we don't have things like that, we don't show the game. So the idea is to come in, enjoy the fantastic beer, enjoy the food, enjoy the company, the community, and your friends.
Old West came through for us when we were starting this business, and I think it's any persons out there thinking of starting a business, a community credit union is generally going to be your best bet, and Old West is one of the best ones.
Hey, welcome back, and thank you again for taking time out of your very busy evening as we are covering the election night for Union County and beyond. And so, first of all, we do want to thank some of our sponsors, and you saw some of the commercials, and you'll see more great commercials of local businesses and local people doing extraordinary things for our local community. One of those businesses that I just want to take a split second and thank is Grand Run Hospital. And as we all are very much acquainted with Grand Run Hospital, we take this very seriously, first of all, for the gift and the blessing of having a hospital in our local area. As hospitals throughout the country in rural areas are struggling, we've got a phenomenal hospital that is run by experts. The administration is fantastic. The doctor-patient care, absolutely fantastic. And so we do want to thank them. And do you, anything you guys want to add to the Grand Run Hospital?
No, just that we're very fortunate. Bob is exactly right.
Yeah. It's just nice to have a partner like that in our community. And also the benevolent giving that they do. I know they have a foundation that I've had a chance to work with as well, doing good things for our community. And so again, from our hearts and viewers' hearts to Grand Run Hospital, thank you for being a phenomenal partner and friend to those in Union County and beyond. Also, real quick, we do want to recognize 4th Street Bistro. You see the sign in the background with the Wasteland Kings. Thank you for hosting the Wasteland Kings for us. It's a lot of fun to see what you're doing here as well. Okay, so on the line, we want to move quickly to Bill Miller. And Bill is running for sheriff as well. Bill, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Bill, thank you for taking time out of your evening. Phenomenal campaign that you've been running. And we've often commented on the quality of men running for this position. So again, thank you for throwing your hat in the ring on this. We just wanted to get you in touch with our viewers tonight. The campaign may be done, may not be done based on the 50% rule. But we just want to ask you a couple quick questions around, tell us some of your takeaways during your campaign. What did you feel as you were out meeting with people when you could? And where are you at today? How are you feeling?
I feel pretty good. I mean, the time that I was able to talk with folks out there and interact with them, I got a lot of feedback and a lot of information, directions to go and things to focus on. I mean, I knew what some of the issues were to begin with. A lot of that was just reasserted by people I met with, but I also got some new insight, people with different ideas and different issues they wanted addressed. But do want to say real quick, anybody that hasn't turned the ballot in, they have till 8 o'clock, I believe, to find a ballot box at City Hall or the Meisner building.
That's right.
But no, it's been phenomenal listening. It's been a challenge. I've never ran for any office before. Obviously, COVID-19 put a damper on things because I was out knocking and talking and just talking with people face to face. Was very enjoyable, and I believe I was gaining some ground doing that. But that being said, I'm happy with the efforts I put out, and I really want to serve the citizens of Union County, and I didn't do it by myself. My wife and my campaign committee, they're very hard workers and very dedicated, so I want to put a shout out to them.
Well, right on. And Bill, I will say that what you're communicating tonight is what we're hearing across the board, the challenges. I liked Bill's phrase, knocking and talking. So Bill, one other quick question. You guys may have a quick question as well. Well, let me go to you guys first. Do you have a question for Bill? Anything you want to ask him?
I just wondered if there was anything that you heard on the campaign trail from the people that you were meeting with that you were surprised to hear?
No, not really. I mean, because I've been enveloped in law enforcement in this county for 20 plus years. Most of the issues I'd heard before and have actually tried to deal with and quell throughout my career. It's just how they told me that the issues weren't being addressed that surprised me the most. Mm-hmm. And it's something that I know I can do, and I know I can make better. I want to bring stability back to the office and not focus on the office so much, but move on from there and go directly to solving issues that I know I can fix. But no, it's been a great experience. Good. And no real surprises.
All right, perfect. Bree, anything?
No, not that I can think of, but we really appreciate the time that you've taken this evening to talk with us and let us know your takeaways, and we just appreciate you.
Very much.
Well,
very much.
I appreciate you folks for the opportunity. The forum was awesome. I wish we could have done more of that face-to-face with folks in a larger setting, but the opportunity there was amazing.
Yeah.
And I want to thank Brent Clapp and all his staff for that opportunity.
Well, we will pass it along to him. In fact, I believe he's listening right now. I will say, Bill, I want to publicly recognize you for putting up with the technical difficulties. I know that it was a challenge at first to get you into the forum. No harm, no foul, and we don't know where that issue came from, but you really showed tremendous resolve the way you hung in there and stuck with it. So thank you.
It was great. I mean, it was just another challenge for me, and I fought my way through it and actually had a good time. And I've got a lot of good response back from it from constituents. So I want to thank you guys.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay. Well, Bill, again, on behalf of the citizens here in Union County and Brent Clapp Media Services, thank you for joining us tonight. Thanks for taking time out of your very busy evening to come on live with us. So thank you.
Good luck tonight,
All right.
Bill.
Good luck, Bill.
Yes, good luck.
Thank you. Take care.
Right on, right on. It's an interesting little insight. When we were doing the Sheriff's Forum, boy, it just is like a thunderstorm. I don't know what, it really was a thunderstorm.
I was going to say, I was watching from home, and I think it
thunderstorm.
really was a thunderstorm.
That explains everything. But some of the candidates, boy, it was tough. And I really have to take my hat off to them because they what they put up with to get through the evening, to express themselves, to get their message out. It was impactful. And I tell you, I walked away from that experience thinking, we've got some phenomenal candidates, quality men, men full of integrity who are running for this office. And it spoke well, I think, of our community.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are just now starting to navigate like the Zoom calls and
Right.
the teleconferencing. And so there's a lot of bugs to be worked out of that system. I think sometimes the systems get overloaded because they're not accustomed to having so many people, communicating that way too. So
Good point. And I will say the theme, folks, tonight is how these candidates overcame this tremendous challenge we're all facing, whether they engaged in social media, Zoom, however they got a hold of their constituents and, again, potential voters. The creativity was fantastic. Okay, so let's go to our next candidate, shall we?
next candidate.
Okay, and I believe that's Alex Spencer. So, Alex, good evening. Can you hear me okay?
I sure can. Thank you.
Wonderful.
How are y'all tonight?
Hi, Alex.
Good.
Hi.
Good, and we're doing wonderful, and I hope that you're doing wonderful as well on this election night coverage, and we just want to thank you for taking time, again, out of your very busy schedule, and I'm sure you're waiting for the results in anticipation. And so what we're doing is we're asking all the candidates who are able to join us tonight, because we're not getting anything deep, nothing heady, nothing philosophical.
I think there's been enough of that over the last couple of weeks. I think it's time for everybody to take a breather.
Let's take a
Relax
breather.
a little bit.
So talk to us about some takeaways that you've had on the most recent campaign trail that you've been an adventurer on.
Well, it has just been wonderful, and I can't tell you what an amazing, journey it's been, and I know that is such a cliche these days, and yet before we got stopped by this COVID-19 revolution, I was able to travel 6,200 miles all across Eastern Oregon, and being able to really get to know the place and the people, and just being able to drive through the most beautiful countryside, on the planet. It is just so lovely, and the people are warm and inviting, and people brought me into their homes. People who don't like cats let my cats stay there. And I mean, it's really been a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing. And since we had to stop in our tracks, we have found just the pace of it, and the new knowledge, and we've been doing virtual town halls since the beginning. So back in December, we had our first, actually probably early January, we had our very first virtual town hall, and we were doing them every week all the way up until now. And this past week, we've done them every day, and we've been doing a happy half hour at 5:30, which I did just before you guys. And so it's been interesting and fun and exciting. And right now, we are all feeling very confident, and we are all feeling very excited, and bringing a team together like I've done, and having their enthusiasm and their strength and their wisdom, and it just feels good. It feels really, really good. And you guys helped us so much. You helped us get known better throughout Eastern Oregon, as well as giving us that little boost so that we got the endorsement from the Bend Bulletin, and they did talk about my showing up on your forum for that. So thank you. That was an amazing boost to the campaign.
You're so welcome. So I did a 2nd Congressional District Forum, co-hosted with my boss, Chris Rush. It was it was put on by the EO Media Group and Eastern Oregon Alive TV. And we did that, it was at the beginning of the month. So it was May 1st and May 2nd. It was broke up into 2 forums. And so we got to talk to Alex then. And I was thinking as we were going through that forum, the 2nd Congressional District is a huge district.
It's huge.
And how the candidates were navigating trying to reach out to all of the voters in those areas, especially, during COVID, how they were trying to navigate that. And so it was interesting to hear you talk about all of these, remote meetings and town halls that you've had to participate in order to get your message out.
Yeah, I'm busier now than I was when I was on the road.
I can imagine.
Well, Alex, I have a question for you. So I did a little research on all of our candidates. I tried to just put something in here, fun facts, and because the election is done. So again, we are not endorsing candidates on our show. We're just merely providing a platform so that we can get to know a little bit about you, maybe off the beaten trail. And so it says something that you are a poet by trade or by heart. I believe I read that in one of the publications. Maybe that was the paper. I don't remember. Can you tell us, again, poet by trade or by heart? This is kind of interesting. So tell us more about that.
Yes, I am a poet, and everything stems from that for me. When I think of a great speech, every great speech is poetry. And when we're talking about engaging a group of people, it's about the poetry of the moment. And I think I think that we vote for the best performance, for the best performer, and the way I write is very stream of consciousness, and it has always been written to be read aloud. And so it very much, I didn't realize when I began the poetry and when I started being on the poetry circuit in New York City and all of those things, I didn't realize how close to politics I would end up being. And it has, it informs me and it keeps me grounded in ways that are so important. And to keep what is most important to me right there on the tip, that's how I engage with the world, and
Sure.
For a long time, whenever I wrote something, the last word was always peace, and it gets a little cheesy when you start doing that in a political situation.
Yeah.
So I don't do that as much anymore.
Oh, right on.
So I'm hoping to collect some of my work through the general election to help, fund the campaign and that sort of thing.
Be interesting to go back and listen to her speeches now and see if you can, feel something different from it, knowing her background.
The poet among us. So,
Yeah.
Alex, thank you for taking time to join us tonight. Unfortunately, we're running, as we always do, right on the time frame. So, again, as we've thanked all of our candidates, we want to thank you for taking time to join us this evening on Election Eve to see where you will be heading. So thank you again for your time.
And good luck.
It was good to talk to you again, Alex. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you so much. Y'all take care.
Thank
too.
you. Okay, Bree.
All right. Do we have? Okay.
Okay, we just got word. Newt is not on the phone yet. Newt Bueller is not on the phone yet. So what we've got is as we work to get a hold of these candidates. Now, actually, I believe this one, Newt pre-recorded this. Yes, okay. So we're working at that recording up so you can hear from Newt. Interesting, again, phenomenal candidate. We've got all these great candidates who have put their name in the hat, and they all have reasons why they want us to vote for them. And as we talked earlier in our little forum of what is important to you as a citizen, as a voter in Union County, as you align that to these candidates, we believe we're going to get good responses. We're going to get good people involved. And so I guess, just so this question answers, we're waiting, an expectation. As we look to, once Election Day is done, we know who the candidates are now, these people in the positions. Expectation. What are, in your opinion, what are some expectations that Union County residents would have for some of these, just in general, these candidates are now in office?
So I think mine's very simple.
Yeah.
Just do what you say you were going to do.
Oh,
I mean,
there it is.
So That's basically that. It's whatever the platform was that you were running on, whatever promises it was that you made to the county and to the voters to get you into that position, hold up your end of the bargain. So
Well
we put
said.
you in that position. Now prove to us that we made the right decision.
Oh, well said. Bree, what do you think?
She took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, that's the perfect answer.
So same thing. So what we're really saying is, if you do receive the position that we've elected you to do, we don't want to bait and switch, because
No.
we've experienced that. I mean, I don't want to be going down a negative trail here, but we have experienced that where pressures were applied and we did not get what we were expecting. But I think you're right. And so
No buyer's remorse.
Buyer's remorse. There it is. There it is. Okay. So I believe
All right, we have Newt Bueller on the line. Okay. We have a Newt Bueller recording
on the line.
So let's hear from Newt.
Well, the main thing that I have learned in this campaign, and what I've heard loud and clear, no matter if I was traveling the district or more recently talking to people, is that folks in the district are angry and frustrated at having their views and values disrespected and all too often ignored, in having their jobs, their communities, even their way of life threatened by the big arm of government. And that's highly motivating for me, and it's why I am running to stand up and fight for the people and places that I've called home for over 2 decades, and to stand up and be that voice for people who all too often have been left out, left behind, in my opinion, silenced by very powerful voices in Salem and Washington, D.C. And look, no one has fought the liberal establishment in this state harder than I have. And when Kate Brown and Cliff Bentz and others passed Oregon's biggest tax increase in history, for example, I said no. And I'm ready to take that fighting spirit to Washington, D.C. to stand with President Trump to defend our Second Amendment rights, push back against excessive taxes, and secure the border. And I'm ready to take on that fight for the people of the 2nd District.
All right. Well, that was Newt Bueller, who is running for Congress. Do we have Cody Bowen on the line?
I think so.
Cody, are you there?
No.
All right. Cody, thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to join us.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, guys. I appreciate the opportunity.
So we're asking everyone the same question, and that is, what are your takeaways from your campaign this year?
Well, first off, thank you, guys. Bree, Bob, Trin, I appreciate it. And I'm going to start with thanking my wife, because as you both know that I've struggled with that in the past. I'm not going to let that happen again. So.
Good job.
Very wise. Very wise.
I've learned even more so, even more than I knew before, that I have a wonderful, supportive wife and a great family. And without them, this would have been impossible. So get that out of the way. I love them to death, and I want everybody to know it. So that's been my big support.
That's great.
The people that have, I won't say come out of the woodwork, but have stood up and voiced their support for me from even before I announced to now has been extremely humbling. And thank you to all my supporters and the folks that have helped out in the campaign and my campaign staff. And it's been amazing. So I've learned I don't like politics. I can tell you that. I can assure everyone that voted for me that I am no politician, and I will do my best to take the politics out of the sheriff's office, because I am truly disappointed in this game we call politics, and I don't like it one bit.
Yeah.
But, I didn't start out this job wanting to be sheriff. I wanted to, I took a tremendous pay cut going from Les Schwab to be a deputy sheriff, and the reason for that was being able to help people in our community, being able to help citizens, and this is an opportunity for me to take that one step further, and I'm really excited. I'm really excited to work on some things that I think that we can do different, and man, just more than anything, I thank everybody for the support.
More stressful than you thought it was going to be?
What's that?
Was it more stressful than you thought it was going to be?
I don't want to say how stressful it was on the air, Corinne, but
I know.
yeah, it was,
I was trying to
it was
bait you there.
extremely stressful. You know, I'm not one of those guys that really let stress get to me. I try and take things with a grain of salt and wake up each day and put a smile on my face and go to work and do my job. And you know, I've learned that working with the kids. You know, I don't want folks to know that if I'm having a bad day or whatnot, I try to, you know, my day is my choice, and how it's going to be is how I decide how it's going to be for the most part. And stress, yeah, I've developed a permanent case of heartburn, and yeah, there's some stress.
An ulcer.
Oh, Cody. Well, I will say this. A lot of the candidates have communicated that the negative campaigning does take its toll, even though the candidates get up every day, put a smile on their face, and off they go. I know this is your first run at any public office. How did you do with the negative campaigning that may or may not have come at you? How are you holding up with that?
Well, you know, if this was you and I talked on the phone, Bob, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm disappointed in the negativity. I started this campaign with doing what I felt was right in my heart and doing what I felt was best for our community. And I approached it with, you know, talking about myself and talking about, you know, the things that I can do different and why I'm doing it. And that got twisted around throughout the campaign. Like I said, I hate politics, and I think it brings out the absolute worst in people. And if it ever happens again, I'm gonna stick to the best I can and be as positive as I can and not go down that road. So.
Yeah, that's I think a common theme throughout all the candidates, and what they're communicating is that they would rather focus on their issues and what's important to them versus defense. And so, okay, Cody, thank you for taking time tonight. Any other questions for Cody?
I don't think so. Good luck tonight, Cody.
Yes,
thank
good
you,
luck.
Cody. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Have a great evening.
You too.
Okay, so we're going to go into a break now. And again, Wasteland Kings, thank you for being here with us tonight. We love listening to your music. We've had a chance to hear you at all the fairs and the festivals and around town and local gatherings. And so
They do a
Wasteland
great
Kings,
job.
they're phenomenal. I'm surprised they're not like global, America's Got Talent kind of thing.
Oh, they're too good.
They're too good for that. They're, see, that's I hear that a lot. Wasteland Kings too good for America's Got Talent.
There are little Oregon, Washington secret. Yes, best
they
kept
are.
secret.
Best kept secret. Anyway, so we want to thank them for being with us. Also want to thank our sponsors. We've got a lot of sponsors that we want to give shout outs to. Between Grand Ron Hospital, EOAlive, Wingman Digital, Loveland, and the Marketplace, we want to thank you for being a sponsor tonight, and Old West Federal Credit Union and our local paper, and then we go on and on and on. But we do need to break and get over to Wasteland Kings so we can come back. And when we come back, we'll be on the phone with some more candidates that you've not had a chance to hear from yet. We'll be circling back with some who we had struggles to get a hold of them earlier, and hopefully we get all the candidates on the phone so that you can just kind of get a final feel and wrap up for who they are and where they want to take their position, as well as how you feel about your vote, because this is tonight. This is it. So election
Live
night.
results coming.
Live results at about 8, what did we say, 8:15?
We're hoping about 8:15.
8:15, 8:30.
Very exciting.
Okay,
Stay
well,
tuned.
live TV, you never know what's going to happen. Okay, so I think we're going to Wasteland Kings.
The river it dances, it boils in your shoes. Stand by that river till it burns to the roots. The summer sun blazes like it's waved in the sky. We can go anywhere, the river and I. We can go anywhere, the river and I. The day I was married, the river was there. A hot summer breeze and the thick summer air. The promise of memories in July. Family, my wife, the river and I. My family, my wife, the river and I. sun was still hiding on the December morn. I felt like running a midwinter storm. A river was screaming, never know why. Left us forever, the river and I. Left us forever, the river and I. The river, it dances, it boils in its shoes. Stand by that river and burn to the roof. The summer sun blazes like it's welded in the sky. We can go anywhere, the river and I. We can go anywhere, the river and I.
When you're dealing with important issues like insurance, you want to talk with a live person, in person. We are Reed & Associates. We're an independent insurance agency right here in La Grande, and we specialize in home, auto, and Medicare insurance. We would love to talk to you today. Reed & Associates, real people to serve you.
La Grande is in trouble. Even before COVID-19, Union County had a 22% child poverty rate, 16% food insecurity rate, and 5% unemployment. We need an experienced and passionate leader to fight for a new normal. Alex McCadad is running for mayor of La Grande. As a local government leader, he battles for funding and support for our community in Salem every year. Join him in renewing La Grande by promoting a business-friendly climate, increasing city transparency, and plowing our roads. Visit www.alexford.us for more information.
Okay, we're back. Thank you again for tuning in tonight for the special election night coverage. We're very happy and excited to be here with you tonight because we know that you who are viewing the show tonight take this very seriously and you want to see the best outcome and best results possible. We were talking a second ago about expectations. You know, when we go and we look at these candidates and we cast our vote, we're casting that vote based on what my two co-hosts have said and around their promises. And we want them to hold to their promises, and that's how we, in essence, gauge those results. Mm-hmm. So very, very important tonight that we are focused on the right things. I want to thank Brent Clapp Media Services for providing this platform to get the word out. And yes, we will be bringing live results, as I understand it. Okay, how will we be doing that? Do you know?
So I believe we're going to send Brent Clapp up to the county clerk's office, and he's going to chat with Robin Church, I believe, just briefly. And then most of the live results will be fed to the office here, and then we'll be updating live and showing you guys the results as they're coming in. That's going to be pretty exciting. Not until 8:15, 8:20-ish. Mm-hmm. We should start to see some live results coming in.
Okay, pretty exciting. Actually, very exciting that we can get those live results. And Robin Church, as we all know, Robin is a very loyal, faithful public servant who has served her county well. And I had a chance to get with Robin and meet her at our time at the Chamber of Commerce. Mm-hmm. And so pretty good partner again for our community.
And we should have live results for county commissioner, the local sheriff's race, and then the 2nd congressional district race. And again, those will be coming in at 8:15.
Yeah, and what a great source of news for you, our viewers, so that you can know in a timely manner. Okay, so we do have some graphs we want to share with our viewers. So here's a congressional race fundraising graph, and we just want to give you a couple insights here on how they did when it came to fundraising. So if we can get that graph up on the screen, we can go through just a couple quick numbers so that folks can see. So, we had it for a second. Okay. Now this is for quarter one, as I recall.
Yeah, so this would be January through the end of March.
There we go. Now, to dissect this a little bit, we can see that Bueller far outpaced fundraising.
Absolutely. And I don't know if that's a huge surprise to most people. He's a name that a lot of people are familiar with.
Right.
Physician, maybe, I don't know how much that had an impact, but
a lot, I'm sure.
Probably.
A lot. And I think his run for governorship here a little while ago probably impacted this as well. Okay, so now again that was their fundraising. This is Facebook likes on the posts that they've made. Now some of this is relative based on the number of posts that they did, but then again, what are your takeaways with this overwhelming graph?
Again, we have Newt Bueller in the lead there, and again, I think this is sort of popularity contest when you're looking at Facebook likes. He obviously did a pretty good job getting his name out there on social media. Yeah,
clearly he did, and one of the things I do want to talk briefly about is when you saw that list of candidates. I don't know, can we get the graph up? Just either one of those graphs one more time for me. When you look at these graphs. Here's the thing with this that I find very, very interesting. You've got the top half, they are performing well. So for example, with likes or whether it comes to likes or funding for their campaign. But then you've got that bottom half there with very little, if any, activity. Now, the reason rationale behind that is because we're in the primaries. And there is some thought that some of the candidates don't kick it in high gear until they know where they're going to fall after the primaries. What are your thoughts around that?
Well, I think the graph speaks for itself. I think holding off on that's kind of making a big mistake, in my opinion. But
so the interesting thing that I saw was that there wasn't real correlation between Facebook likes and the amount of money either that they raised in their campaign necessarily. Because if you saw Jimmy Crumpacker was second as far as money raised for his campaign, but he wasn't second in Facebook likes. His social media didn't track as well. So,
which are good comments and interesting observations. So one of the things I think we have to think about is you do the research at home, or hopefully you've done the research to look at your candidates. One of the things I find interesting is their sources of revenue and income on their donors. Not sure of all of the sources for those. When it comes to Facebook, there is an ability to be, I would say, effective around how they utilize social media versus how some perhaps don't see the value of social media. Now, I find that interesting, and I want to throw this back at you again, 1 to 10 scale on how important the social media component is with these current races based on not being able to meet publicly. What do you think?
So I think the issue with social media, because I'm not a huge social media fan myself. It's not something that I practice like in my personal life or something that I pay that much attention to. But I think the thing that's difficult with social media is you aren't able to really drive the commentary. You can put your message out there, but then what people do with it and how they respond to it, a lot of times it just ends up like a lot of mud throwing, not necessarily a positive experience. You can't control the message once it's on social media. So
well said. Well said. Okay, so with that said, because what we want to do to the viewers, we just want to point something out around with these candidates. They've had to overcome some tremendous obstacles. Some are very social, some really need to get out and meet with the town halls, door to door, and so on. And you've heard some candidates talk about that already, where they've said, I wasn't able to do that. I could not get out, and that's what I love to do. I had a lot of plans to go do that. So we're going to go to the sheriff's race, I believe. Here we go. And we're going to look at their Facebook likes as well. Again, what are your takeaways? Any big surprises here?
I think probably not in this one so much. I don't know that anybody would be surprised to see the amount of followers or likes that Cody Bowen had on his Facebook page. I think, from what I heard, he was super active on social media, and I think that reflects probably here.
Yeah, I think you're right. Bree, what are your thoughts?
Well, there's also a certain demographic that's more social media adept. So I think there's also, it doesn't really account for everything, but there's also a large amount of people that aren't going to be on there that it's not going to be reflecting. So that's needs to be.
I think you're right. I think those need to be taken into account. And so for you at home, don't look at those likes or the campaign finance as, oh my gosh, that's the candidate that's going to win overall.
It's not an indicator at all.
We do not know that. And here's why. We look at the target. Who are their target audiences? Now, when we look at Union County and we look at our demographic, is our demographic on social media or are they not on social media? Is their primary source of information the newspaper, radio, wherever they may go, social media? I don't have those numbers. I don't have those demographics.
Be interesting to see.
It would be interesting to see. And also, you cannot, for viewers at home, You cannot say, well, an older generation they're less likely to use social media. That is not true as of today. So it's a whole new world when it comes to how we market to the demographic.
Right. Except, so does that older demographic, are they comfortable with getting that kind of information from social media? Do they consider social media to be a credible, viable resource for that kind of information? Right. Or do they feel like that's information that they should get from their local newspaper right. or from their voter's guide? Mm-hmm. Those that follow social media more closely, maybe they're not comfortable with the voter's guide, or it's not a resource that they use.
Yeah, and therein lies the final question when it comes to how end users, you at home, we who are here, how we gather this information and what we hold to be true, and that's how we make our decisions. Okay, we have another graph we're going to be going to. So Brent, you had another one you want to show us. All right, so the sheriff candidate fundraising. Interesting. So clearly, Cody Bowen is way out in front when it came to fundraising. It would be interesting, and maybe you guys can talk about this, as you look at this graph, and let's hold this graph on the screen for a second. Do you believe that these campaign funds are gathered from a lot of people in smaller amounts, or do you think it's a handful of people with larger amounts? Because we don't know.
I think it depends on the candidate too.
Ah, interesting.
So that would be my take anyway. I could see some candidates having fewer large donors donating to their campaign, and then I think there are going to be others that we're doing more door knocking early on and are getting a lot of their fundraising covered by very small donations by a lot of supporters.
There you go. Bree, what are your thoughts?
I tend to side with Corinne on this one.
Mm-hmm. It is a challenge to
I'd love to know the answer to that, though.
Well, I'd love to know the answer to it, too. Yeah. So, you can see that, obviously, Cody was probably creeping up on $35,000 in donations. It would be interesting to know, how that was broke down. Was that from, because I think it would say volumes if that was from 3,500 different supporters.
Right.
That speaks volumes to the people that were willing to support him financially. Right. Or did, if that came from just 3 or 4 large supporters, which I'm sure that's not the case. Right. But it would be interesting to see that breakdown.
It would, and all that is public information that you can do the research and find out. We did not do that legwork because tonight's show is not about that. Tonight's show is truly just to reach out to candidates and connect with them and find out, get some of their takeaways, and give you at home a chance to get to know a little bit more about them afterwards. But I will say you can do the research. That is public information. We are merely bringing interesting questions to the table. All right, so I believe, and I've lost track of where we are. Who do we have on the phone next? Okay. Okay, so we are working to get Jimmy Crumpacker on the phone. So we're going to look at some more graphs because we were curious about when it came to social media, specifically Facebook. That was the only medium we looked at. We really should have looked at Instagram and some of the others, but we didn't. Mm-hmm. So what's our next graph? I believe it's County Commissioner, Facebook. There we go. Okay, again, Facebook likes. So when it comes to our County Commissioner's race, we had 2 excellent candidates.
Absolutely.
And it is a brutal choice between the 2. Both have a unique perspective and bring amazing things to the table. But here we go. We look at the Facebook likes, and you look at the number as far as the scale, the 400 to the 200 to the 600, not really knowing how many posts they made to bring about those likes.
Good point.
But what are your thoughts
Well,
on
so
this
here's the other thing that I wonder is if Donna Beveridge was using a previous Facebook page that was tied to her first race. So, did she just pick up that Facebook page and just continue to use that one? Or was this a new Facebook page that she put up to promote this campaign? Mm-hmm. I don't know if that would play a role or not, but that would be something interesting to look at.
Absolutely would. And again, for the viewers at home, you can't go by these graphs as an indicator of who the ultimate winner and the outcome will be. I don't think that's a fair way to judge it, because as our conversation went into earlier, we don't know, when it comes to the end user, people like you and I and our viewers, where you get your source of information. You may have been someone who liked one of those pages. You may not even know what we're talking about, and it's totally okay. How people gather information is very, very curious and interesting, especially since this whole COVID-19. It's been much more of a challenge, and we've heard our candidates all speak to that. Okay, so we're going to go to, do we have Jimmy Crumpacker on the line yet? Okay.
I noticed something on here there that was interesting to me is the amount of likes between commissioner and the sheriff's races seem to be varied by the thousands.
Yeah, it did look like that. And it is interesting on that point, what races are getting people's attention.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, after co-facilitating the Sheriff's Forum, I was overwhelmed with afterwards of how many people went up to me in the grocery store, out and about, on the importance of that sheriff's race. Now, the other ones are very important too. Please don't think we're diminishing the importance of any of the races. But that one seemed to be the hot race of Union County. Agreed?
It was a highly contested race.
It really is.
Okay, it sounds like we've got Chris Vaughn
Okay,
on the
take
phone.
the lead.
So we're going to connect with Chris Vaughn now. He's running for Congress. Chris, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
Hi, we're happy to have you tonight. Thanks for joining us tonight, Chris.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we're just asking everybody just sort of the basic question, and that is, what were your takeaways from this year's campaign?
Well, one of my takeaways is that a lot of people are really frustrated, and they really want change, and so I'm hoping to provide that to them. And we'll find out, in a few hours, I guess, when we get the results, whether I'm going to be the one to represent for the Democrats or not. But yeah, I think people really want change in this district.
So sort of difficult for you to get out and reach all the voters this time around. I mean, again, we were talking earlier about how large the 2nd Congressional District is, so trying to reach those voters is difficult under normal circumstances, but obviously ran into the COVID-19 pandemic. So what was the most effective way that you found to reach out to the registered voters in the 2nd Congressional District?
Sure, it's been very difficult because we have such a big district, and obviously normally the candidates would all be going around traveling to the different cities of the district and meeting with people in person, and it's a lot harder to do that when we're not able to go out and do that. So I mean, the most of the way I did it was to try and do through Zoom phone calls and forums and things. So I tried to participate in all the forums that I could to get my message out. And just trying to do through social media, just mainly like Facebook and things like that, just trying to put out your message on there and hope that people would see it. I know none of the Democrats that I'm aware of really had much of a budget to spend on advertising or anything, because there was a pretty big lack of donations because of what's going on with the coronavirus. So we weren't able to do much advertising, any of us, and I know a lot of people were frustrated by that. I had even a Democrat tell me that, well, where were you guys the last few months and everything? I haven't even heard of any of you until just recently. So obviously, we weren't able to get out to everybody we wanted to. But that's how we had to try and do it, was through social media.
And did you get good response from your social media campaign? We were talking about, how difficult social media can be at times, being able to control the message that you're getting out, and you'll have a rogue poster that will hijack your post and ends up becoming sort of a mudslinging war pretty soon. You've posted, this great post about your platform, and pretty soon you get to the end of the post and it's mudslinging that had nothing to do with what you were actually setting out to accomplish. Did you run into that?
Yeah, that makes it difficult. I tried to allow on my page, people to have a discussion, whether they were, coming from my point of view or from another point of view, because I think it's fine to have a discussion, but a lot of people wanted to just name call and things like that, and they don't really want to have a discussion, so then you have to end up banning people from your page and stuff like that. So yeah, it can get really frustrating in that area. I would much rather be out talking to people in person and
than trying to moderate a Facebook page.
Absolutely. So Chris, Chris, I'm Bob Kavanaugh. Thank you for your time tonight. We have run into a lot of this as we've had discussion with candidates around social media. We can't go meet people. We can't go shake hands. We can't do this. We can't do that. So we've heard a lot of the Zoom meetings, social media, but can you tell us, and I don't think we've asked this question yet, how did you measure the effectiveness around your creative ways to communicate? Is that a fair way to put that?
Yeah.
How did you measure?
Probably so hard to gauge.
Yeah.
It's really hard, without taking a poll or something and seeing if people are getting your message. It's really hard to know. I think one way is just through, I got personal messages a lot of times from people, or like emails, especially in the last week after the ballots came out. I got messages from people saying that I don't even know, just messages that people sent saying we voted for you and this is why we voted. Or a few people would say they're trying to make a final decision and they wanted to know, could I answer a question for them? that they didn't think was addressed in my issues on my webpage. And so it was nice to hear those messages back, and at least I knew I was getting through to some people that that were letting me know that I had gotten through to them and they were going to vote for me. So I don't know. It's hard to know when you're not really meeting with the people, though. It's hard. You just got to kind of use your intuition to think, am I really hitting the right message or not? But I think my message was good, and I think a lot of people heard it. It just makes it more difficult to spread it, when it's just through social media and not through, since we didn't do a lot of advertising on the Democrat side, it's hard to not get the message out as much without the advertising and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Well, wonderful. Thank you for your time. Any other questions?
I don't think so. Good luck tonight, Chris. We were happy that you could join us.
Oh, thank you so much. Yep. All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
Take care.
You too.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, I think we're going to go to a short commercial break and back to the Wasteland Kings, and then we'll be back here in just a few minutes.
Never forget what's her name, dancing circles on cedar plain, making coffee, bumming me cigarettes. She was the best I had, except for one little circus girl. Lots of fun, well, I loved them all, made me for the stories I tell. Can't give up drinking, can't give up the dope. I'll give up cigarettes right after I smoke. And I ain't going to heaven, ain't gonna get well, no. I got stories to tell, like the day I died, lying around, wishing I could have 9 on 10, but my flying shoes have all done been tied. When the barmaid's crying, I made them a toast, I told them all I loved them the most, and whispered in their ear, baby, we'll always have bakers. I can't give up drinking, can't give up dope. I give up cigarettes right after I smoke. And I ain't going to heaven, ain't gonna get well, no. But I got stories to tell. I can't give up drinking, can't give up dope. I give up cigarettes right after I smoke. And I ain't going to heaven, ain't gonna get well, no. But I got stories to tell, yes I do. I got stories to tell.
Hey, Johnny Ballgame here. What's going on? You're not going to hire a basketball coach to fix your house up. You're not going to hire a gardener to operate on your hands. So why would you hire anybody but a solid professional when it comes to audio and visual production? You wouldn't. you're going to hire Brent Clapp. Brent Clapp Productions has a gorgeous studio, 4th Street in downtown LeGrand. I sign off on this 1,000%. I broadcast my show here every day. It's not some guy in the back room, although he once was. Brent has a qualified track record and a proven history in this business. Whatever production needs you may have are taken care of by pros, professionals. And not to mention, they're a Travel Oregon award-winning company. Yeah, stuff that they've produced has went on to win big-time media awards throughout the state. You don't have to go to the other side of the state. You don't have to do it on your own. You don't have to call a basketball coach. No. So listen to Ball Game. Brent Clapp Productions. It's where you need to be. Ha 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 ha!
Welcome back. It is election night. I am here with Bob Kavanaugh and Corinne Brajati. I'm Bree Troutman, and we have our current sheriff, Boyd Rasmussen, on the line.
Guys.
Hi, Boyd.
Hey, Boyd.
How are you doing?
Good, good.
So we're
at
at
a conclusion here, so that's a good thing. You know, we've had a long year, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine. So we're asking all of the candidates the same question, Boyd. And
Okay.
if you would you please tell us about your takeaways from the campaign this year? And what are some things that you've learned in your journey?
Well, I guess one of the things that I thought stood out most was that people are passionate about their candidate and about their politics, and that doesn't just include this race, but people like to be involved in the process. And I think that's the American way and what people want. They want to be able to decide who their leaders are, and they should have that right. And you see that coming out on the trail. People are just very adamant about their candidate and why, and the candidates are passionate about how they can do the job, and I think that's a good thing. I think at the end of the day, nobody should be handed a job time and time again, and competition is good, and it brings out the best in people and the best traits and the best qualities that they bring to the job. And so I think if you look at all the candidates, you know, I can look at all of them across the road, including myself, and we all bring good things to the table, and it's who has the best package deal, you know, and who can bring the best to the county, and the voters have the say in that. And I think one of the things that I was thinking about this discussion is I visited with a gentleman a number of months ago, and he was a motivational type speaker I met on a short vacation, and we talked about things, and his point was, and I agree with it wholeheartedly, is at the end of the day, elections are always about the people and should always be about the people of Union County, in your case, is what he was saying. And I try to take that to heart and always have. But at the end of the day, it's about the people and protecting them, doing the best we can to provide the service. I kind of feel like we've done that the last several years, and we've elevated our game in terms of the office and the quality of people we have. So anyway, that's just kind of a general overview.
Boyd, hey, just not to butt in, but Boyd, thank you. But however, I'm butting in because, and I'm sorry, I do feel a little passionate about this because one of the things I have to confess, I was really taken back with during the Sheriff's Forum that we held here a few weeks ago was just, again, the quality of the people, the men running for this position. And I know that there were times where it was heated. There were times, to your point, it was passionate. And people in their politics, boy, I tell you, it can get really passionate. I was struck, though, with, again, the quality of the men running, yourself. Can you tell us just a couple takeaways that you can think about from that Sheriff's Forum? Because, you know, some of the questions were very hard-hitting questions. And I know that it was a short time frame. We've heard over and over again that we wish we had more time to truly unpack those questions with you, the candidates. But can you just give us one of your takeaways from that Sheriff's Forum?
Well, the biggest thing that I felt like at least from my perspective, is you have to be willing to adapt. And it doesn't matter if it's in a situation like that or actually out live on the street. And I found myself in a position where I had to do some adapting, and you just got to roll with it. You know, at the end of the day, life isn't perfect, things aren't perfect, and it's how you adapt and overcome. And I think I had some of those challenges. I think Bill did too as well. I think there were some communication challenges there. But we overcame, you know what I mean? The program was good. I think it was a positive venue to get out a lot of ideas because we couldn't get together and we couldn't sit up there in a forum and debate. And so that was the next best thing. And so I just appreciate your organization and allowing us to do that.
Wonderful.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Thank you. That's really all I had. I appreciate your time, Boyd.
Okay.
And as we go into our next segment, Boyd, thank you for taking time again. Our current sheriff on the phone with us tonight as we are spending time with the candidates to just review and have some conversation around some of their takeaways and also some things they've learned on the campaign trail and a much lighter look at really the intensity of the campaign up to this moment. It's all done. And again, we go to that 50%. Corinne, again, remind us when it comes to because we've got some 4 candidates.
Right, so we've got 4 candidates. Unless one of them runs away with 50% of the vote, we'll take the top 2 tonight, and then they will move forward to November.
Yeah, and we do not know what that looks like. So Boyd, again, thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you, Boyd. Good luck.
All right.
All right.
Which this is again, the viewers at home. The buzz around Union County is this is the race. This is the one that most people are watching. And again, the other ones are important. I'm not playing both sides of the fence on this, but they're all important. But this one is the one people are watching. Mm-hmm. And I tell you, I was going to ask, so tell us, what do you think? What do you see the final outcome? But I won't do that to you because I think that'd be mean to do so. But talk about your thoughts as the sheriff's race has gone forward. What have you seen? What have you guys observed? Because again, you guys are out in the community. You've got your finger on the pulse. Of course, you know, well known. Talk to us. What do you think?
I really do think we have 4 really quality candidates, and I'm not just saying that. I think we have 4 really quality candidates this year that are running for sheriff, and it's made it a really hard choice for people too. I mean, this could literally go any direction.
Yeah, and I actually think it's going to be really close between everyone. You know, I thought about this in the last few weeks, you know, if there was one candidate that I thought was going to stand out above everyone else. And I think because they're such quality candidates and they all bring something different to the table, I think it's going to be much closer than people expect it to be. I don't think anybody's going to run away with it, to be honest.
Okay, yeah, I agree. We've got
Jeff Smith on the line.
Smith. Okay.
Jeff, are you there?
Yep.
So Jeff is running for Congress, and Jeff, you're from Elgin, Oregon?
Yep.
Fantastic. Well, Jeff, we're asking all of the candidates the same question tonight, and we were just wondering if you could take a little bit of time and tell us what were some of your takeaways from your campaign this year, and what are some things that you learned on your journey?
Well, I think running a campaign that covers most of the state offers quite a few challenges. I think I accomplished what I set out to do, which was I had the most aggressive agenda for what I planned on doing if I was sent back to Washington, D.C. I was the only candidate talking about lowering the cost of health care, repealing the Endangered Species Act. So I think I set out, a goal of laying out an agenda like that, and then if people want that agenda, then they'll vote for me. So I think that was one of my takeaways.
Did you see? Were you affected pretty greatly by the COVID-19 stuff? Did you have a pretty door-to-door campaign, or obviously, I mean, it impacted everybody, but
it just completely changed the dynamics of what I was planning on doing. I had all of these meetings set up and they were all canceled. Wow. So as far as for getting to actually
talk to people face to face, that just didn't happen in the way, I would have normally wanted it to happen.
Sure.
Yeah, as you adjusted, just real quick, as you adjusted to the campaign trail, so to speak, how did you make that adjustment? And how did you gauge your success? Because we have asked other candidates the same question, as they've all had to make adjustments because of COVID. We can't go out, we can't meet people, we can't shake hands. They took to social media, they took to other modes of communication. How did you gauge your success in that area?
Yeah, so basically then the campaign revolved around direct mailing and, media such as radio. That's what tools we were left with. I don't think it completely changed the types of things that you could do other than the, face-to-face meetings, which really the face-to-face meetings is where you develop momentum and really have, people get behind you because, they've met you, they've talked to you, and they have a comfort level of what they feel about you. That's really tough to accomplish through direct mail.
Yeah, good point. And to your point, direct mail and radio, it's tough to gauge analytics, but it does sound like you had and we've heard this from other candidates as well, they had a gut feeling. They felt, yes, I'm gaining momentum, this feels good, or we need to change direction because it doesn't feel like it's working. So thank you. And by the way, thank you for taking time to join us tonight. We sure appreciate that.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Good luck tonight, Jack.
Good luck.
Right on.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, it's Jeff Smith joining us tonight. Okay, so who else do we have on the phone, Brent? Are we ready for our next contestant? You bet.
Okay, we're trying to reach Justin Livingston right now, who is running for Congress. So we'll try to get him on the line here in just the next few minutes. And I think I saw Brent leaving to head up to the county office so that he could meet with Robin. He was headed out the front door and walked by the window and kind of waved on his way out. So
thumbs up.
Yep, he's on his way up there.
I love
Live
it.
results coming soon.
That's right.
So let's go to a question, and with our panel of experts, because I'm going to pay for this afterwards.
Absolutely.
Okay, so here's the thing. We had alluded to this earlier. We've heard our candidates talk about this. There have been struggles along the way as they've got their messaging out or struggled to get their messaging out. Think about last-minute decision-making. Some at home have made up their mind the moment their candidate signed up and said, I'm doing it. Others are undecided. At what point do you feel are people waiting to the very last minute, 7:59, to make up their mind? Or do you feel the vast majority have made up their mind ahead of time and they know who their candidate is? What are your thoughts?
Okay, so I will give my personal, and this is what I've done every election. I literally turned mine in this morning, today.
Okay.
I tend to wait until the very last minute just in case a skeleton slips out of the closet or there is some, mind-blowing thing that happens at the end, or a candidate comes out and says something that sways me. So I usually have a fairly good idea probably 2 weeks before election night, but I have never, ever turned in my ballot, any sooner than maybe 2 days before election day. I wait until the very last minute, and it's not necessarily procrastination. It's really just, there's a little bit of that. My family would say it's absolutely procrastination. I would argue that it's a little bit of that, but more of it is just waiting to see if there is something that comes out at the end that throws me another direction and makes me say, no, that's my candidate.
Interesting. Okay, so we do have our next caller. I would ask this to those of you who are watching tonight, if you are on our social media page, if you wouldn't mind, we just want to do a simple little poll. We don't want to know who you voted for. Let's be clear. We don't.
Oh, they're
want to
going
know.
to post who they voted for.
But we would like to know: are you a a non-procrastinator like Corinne, who will wait till the day or two before to cast your vote, or are you that person? You've casted your vote. You know who you're voting for, and you knew weeks and weeks and weeks ago. So we'd like to hear from you on our social media page. Just put a comment in there and let us know. Okay, so it sounds like we have another candidate on the line, and I did not hear who it was.
Justin Livingston.
Okay.
Justin,
Graham?
are you on the line?
I am.
Okay, fantastic. And Justin is also running for Congress for the 2nd Congressional District. We're happy to have you tonight, Justin.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
So we're asking everyone the same question, just your takeaways from your campaign trail days the last few weeks. What can you share with us?
Sure. Well, obviously this with the virus and the shutdown has thought we drew it up, but everybody's operating under, the same set of guidelines. And unfortunately, I really enjoy getting out and meeting voters in person, and unfortunately we just didn't have that opportunity this time to do that a whole bunch, especially getting into the race late like I did, or towards the tail end of the filing period. But really have enjoyed, for one, the forum that you guys put on. I appreciate you doing that.
We're glad you joined us.
Really, yes. I appreciate you doing that, and it's just been a really different experience. I've run for other offices, and I currently hold elected office in Bend, and it's been a really different experience. A good learning experience, but definitely different than I had anticipated when I got in the race.
And we've talked about this a little bit with the other candidates for the 2nd Congressional District and just how big that district is. So initially, did you have sort of a mapped out plan of each of the different counties and towns that you were going to hit? And then at what point did you have to turn that plan upside down? And how did you decide to refigure that? Did you put more of your energy toward your social media campaign? What did you end up doing that was different?
Yeah, absolutely. No, we of course had an initial plan to get into all the counties, meet with all the different the party committees, and fortunately we were able to have one in-person forum in Klamath Falls, but it is a big district, and we were planning on putting a lot of miles on the car and getting out, meeting people. And like I said, I hold elective office in Bend, and people in Bend and Deschutes County know me, but I'm not really known well in the other counties, and wanted to have that opportunity to hear what the issues are in the other areas. And, basically once it looked like everything, I was looking at a really busy March, and then as, kind of we went through those iterations of different limitations on size of events and things like that, things definitely changed. And so we really pivoted more towards, social media and more digital type marketing and phone calls, lots of Zoom meetings and different ways to, talk to people digitally. But I think there's a piece that gets missed in that, and that personal interaction I value a lot. And I think voters do as well. Unfortunately, in this race, I think, we missed out on a good piece of that.
Yeah, we've heard actually, Justin, my name is Bob Kavanaugh. Thank you for joining us this evening. We've heard a lot of that. That is a definite theme throughout the night. Something else we've asked, especially around the challenges that all you as far as the candidates have faced, is that your plans really just got hijacked, and you had to get creative and turn on a dime. But in that turning on a dime thought, going to more creative ways to communicate to the end user, can you talk about how, because we've asked again, other candidates, how did you measure your effectiveness? So in other words, we heard earlier someone did a mail out. Others have said they use radio. Some have used social media, Facebook, Instagram, and so on. Some of those you can dial in the analytics, some you cannot. So can you talk about how did you gauge your effectiveness on your mode of message?
Yeah, like I mentioned, I focused a lot on digital and social media. And the nice thing about those platforms is that you do have a lot of analytics on how many people you reached, and you can focus on areas and in particular voters. I mean, we have to remember that this is a Republican primary, and there's some mediums that if you go over there, whether it's television or radio, and it's a little trickier to dial in and focus on the particular voters you're trying to aim for. And digital and social media really gives you that opportunity to really dial in, to who you're trying to reach and who you're trying to talk to. And, having the analytics on that is really beneficial. So we can kind of, see what's connecting with people, what resonates. And then also the comments and likes you really get to hear what's important to people. And I was, being really active personally, not just letting, a kind of a digital expert kind of run our social media, but I was doing it personally and personally replying to people's comments and, whether they were tough questions or, or just compliments. It was, I was on there, personally, communicating with people. And so there was a lot of value in that.
Yeah, and hopefully that would make up with some of that personal interaction that unfortunately was missed during this primary season of time. Okay, so.
Yeah, Justin, thank you so much for meeting with us tonight and taking just a few minutes out of your evening, and good luck.
Yes, good luck.
Yeah, my pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity, and you guys have a wonderful evening.
Right
you
on.
do the
Thanks,
same.
Justin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a very common theme throughout our night tonight around the challenges to connect relationally, the ability to connect with their constituents, as well as undecided voters. As we asked that question a few minutes ago, when do you make up your mind when you're going to vote? Is it weeks before, days before, or the very day I put my little dot on there and I drive it up? So challenging time for these candidates, and I don't feel I feel for them in a sense that you really don't know what's going to happen except by intuition. What are your thoughts around that?
So I think, one of the things is, because this was so new and it happened so quickly, nobody was expecting it. I think a lot of people, and we're just throwing things at the wall to see what would stick. I mean, there was no playbook for this. No. Nobody had any idea what to do or what plans to put in place to navigate it. So I think everybody was just trying to see, what avenues they could go down to try to reach the people that they needed to reach. And in this case too, they probably, ended up spending more money on newspaper advertising and social media and their radio advertising to reach people because they didn't have the luxury of being able to just sit across from them at a table like this. And it'll be interesting to see as we move forward, will there ever be an opportunity, what will that opportunity look like again? I mean, I'm sure that we will still have town halls and forums where people will get together in a room, but if you're capped on the number of people that you can have in the room, how effective is that? And does it make sense to keep trying to hold those kind of events? Sure. There is a lot that's lost in communication when you're communicating through social media and just newspaper ads too. It's that face-to-face that's really important. So trying to figure out how they're going to make that work in the future.
Exactly. And we're going to go to Brent. Now, when we come back, though, we are going to talk about voter fatigue in essence, because we've talked about the candidates and their challenges and frustrations with what the hand they've been dealt. But what about the voters? Because we as voters, how we access that information was completely flipped on us. And so there may be some voters, some viewers, who found themselves wondering, okay, how do I make a decision? Where do I get this information? And how do I trust the information? But with that said, we're going to Brent right now, I believe, to get the results. Okay. Okay. We're almost there. Brent is almost, we're going to go to John. Okay, so we've got John Holm. Okay, so.
John, are you there?
I'm here.
Hi, John. It's Bree Troutman with Eastern Oregon Alive, and I'm here with Bob Kavanaugh and Corinne Bergiotti, and thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk with us. We really appreciate it. So, John, we are asking all the candidates basically the same question. We want to know what takeaways you have from this campaign and what you've learned on your journey.
Well, one, we learned how to use video a lot better than we've ever had.
I bet.
We all have.
Yes. Zoom.
It's been wild. Not being able to be one-on-one with people because, as politicians, you do a lot better when you have a crowd and you're in person. You do because it's so impersonal when you're on the video screen.
Absolutely.
So it's been sort of different trying to handle this because you're on telephone instead of being on out there in person. So it makes it so much more difficult, because you can't ask people stuff as easy as you could. So it's just been a whole different learning experience. I don't know how else to put it.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about that because, John, Bob Kavanaugh, thank you for joining tonight. We have heard a lot from all the candidates on the challenges that they've faced when it comes to their ability to connect with an end user or voter, if you will. And so, again, we're curious as far as when you talk about a video camera, much less personal, much less relational. And John, again, knowing and looking into your candidacy a little bit in your campaign, you come across as very relational. And so the challenge would be, how do I connect with my constituents and potential voters? So with the modes of information that you connected with, how did you gauge that effectiveness? Meaning, if it was a mail out, if it was social media, if it was radio, how did you know if you were hitting the mark, so to speak, when you engaged in that?
Well, I try to keep it more I like to say like a personal level, because when I started my campaign, I sent people out to listen to what people were interested, pardon the way, but what they complained about. So that was my whole campaign was about, was listening to what people were talking about and what they were upset and what we were not doing right. So as Democrats, so I used feedback first, and I continue to use feedback to, reorient my campaign about. And when this virus hit, you had to rechange everything yet again. You have to continue to listen to people, and that's been the hardest thing. Is when you're not out there personally, you're not able to listen as well. So how do we get our feedback? And this has been the hardest thing. So unless we're reading what's coming back to us on the internet, you're not able to get, as much feedback as you would when you're out there in the field, asking people and talking with them, in a group of 30 or 40 people or more. So it's been a lot harder to get that feedback.
Yeah, and again, that is across the board. This is what we're hearing from candidates. Okay, any other questions you have for John?
I don't think so. We're just excited that you took the time to be with us tonight, yes. John. This is the second time I've got to talk to you, and it was very nice that you were willing to take the time out of your schedule for us.
Well, I appreciate you giving me the time. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Good luck tonight, John.
Good luck, John. Thank you.
Oh, I need it. Thank you.
Okay, again, we go back to common thread throughout our entire evening. And this may be something, folks at home, you may not have been aware of. It could have been on the back of your mind on how are they communicating, the flyer I got in the mail, what I heard on the radio. But the challenges these candidates have faced to get their message out to you, and I use the word end user in a way meaning you are the voter. You're the decision maker on where our future goes when it comes to local politics and state politics. So let's go back to the question we had. All right, so we know that the candidates all struggled to get their messaging out, and they also struggled to find out a way to see if it was working. Meaning,
I think voters struggled too, though.
And that's my question.
So as a voter, a lot of the candidates, so living in a small community, the candidates, a lot of them I knew, personally, or have had experience with them before in some regard. So I think what's difficult is if you weren't familiar with the candidates, not being able to have that face-to-face or that one-on-one, there's a lot of things that you pick up as far as body language and eye contact that builds that trust factor between two people. You can't communicate that through a social media post or through an advertisement in the Observer. They can list their qualifications and tell you why they're qualified to do the job or what their values are. But to me, that trust factor is something, it's a gut feeling that you feel when you're engaging with someone, and they didn't have the luxury, toward the end of the campaign or even at the beginning of some of their campaigns to be able to build that relation with people. So
could not agree with you more. And that encompasses the thought for we who are voters and we care about the direction of our current economy, our current political structure. We have ideas and thoughts and minds, things that we're passionate about. We heard that from a candidate tonight. Things that are very important to us as far as what we see the future of our culture looking like. And so as an end user, a voter, again, the frustration level pretty high there because we couldn't gather the information the way we really wanted to with that intuition, that gut feeling. Bree, what are your thoughts around that?
Could you rephrase the question,
Oh,
Bob?
sure. Yeah, no, as an end user, as a voter, and maybe you can talk about this personally, how did you know or how frustrated were you with how you gathered information to make an intelligent, decision to cast your vote?
Well, I used the same outlets that I normally do to garner information, whether it be the good old internet or, the newspaper. So I don't know that it affected me as much as that. Okay. But yeah.
Yeah, so but two sides there. Yeah. Okay, thank you guys because that's a good heartfelt answer. So we do have, sounds like we've got Brent on the phone, on the telly with Robin. And so Brent, are you there?
Union clerk. Right now. Hi everyone, this is Robin, Union County Clerk. These are 8 o'clock prints for the primary to May 19th, 2020. Union County, Commissioner Position 3, Donna Beveridge, 4483, Michael Berry, 2420. Union County Sheriff, Shane Rollins, 518. Boyd Rasmussen, 2020. Cody Bowen, 938. Bill 190. Union County Tax Collector Assessor Cody 5144. Union County Surveyor 5144. Union County Measure 31-100 Vector Control, yes, 5528. No, 1389. Measure 3199 Somerville Cemetery Maintenance District, yes, 412. No, 161. For the House of Representatives, U.S. Rep. 2nd District Republican, Mark Roberts, 70. Newt Bueller, 707. Cliff Bent, 1297. Kenneth Marenbach, 13. Jeff Smith, 165. Travis Baker, 6. Justin 579. David Campbell, Jason Atkinson, 214. U.S. Rep. 2nd District Democratic Party, Howard, 450. John Holm, 19. Nick Hurt, 278. Alex Spencer, 328. Chris Vaughn, 233. State races, Democrat, Secretary of State, Mark Hass, 475. Jamie McLeod Skinner, 786. Shima Fagan, 358. Treasurer Tobias Reed, 1312. Attorney General Ellen Rosenblum, 1350. State Senator, 29th District, Mildred O'Callahan, 191. State Representative, 58th District, Nolan Baga, 559. Barbara Wright, 755. Republican, Secretary of State, Kim Thatcher, 2877. Dave Stauffer, 529. State Treasurer, Jeff, 2964. Cross, 2767. Senator 20th District, Bill Hansel, 3218. Garrison Lee Alger, 263. State Representative, 58th District, Bobby Levy, 3166. And then Democrat Senate, Biden, 1213. Sanders, 227. Warren, 116. Gabbard, 70. This law. Senate, Berkeley, 1515. Republican President, 3688. Senator,
Okay, so we did hear some of the results. We did hear some of the numbers. It was gurgly. It was broken up. And so for that, we do apologize. So what we're going to do, we are going to recap this in just a few minutes. We'll have this for you, the results. We will have them here. We'll have them on the screen, and we can get them out to you because we know how important that is. I have to confess to you, and I think I can say this for you guys as well, as we were hearing this on the phone, thank you, Robin Church, for taking your time, staying late this evening, and giving us those results over the phone.
And it's going to be a long night ahead for them,
yes,
too.
Yes, it will. It's not over by any stretch of the imagination. But we do want to thank you, Robin, for staying there and giving us those results. Folks at home, I know you probably felt what I felt, what we felt, a little frustration there in trying to hear some of those numbers. Welcome to the modern age, and sometimes that's just what happens, and it's okay. We will get those numbers for you. We'll have a recap, and we'll have it on the screen here in just a little bit. Stay tuned. There is more to come, and then we'll be doing a wrap-up with those numbers very, very shortly. We're going to go to a commercial break. I just heard that in my ear, so we're good. So we're going to go to a commercial break, and when we come back, hopefully we will have a recap of those numbers ready for you so you can see them on the screen. We won't worry about trying to listen to what was said and what wasn't said in the numbers and numbers and numbers. Okay, with that said, thanks for tuning in. We'll be right back.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jacks. I don't care. I ever get back, so let's root.
Johnny Marvel what's he gonna bite into
That
here?
looks a lot like the thing that put Bond MIA.
1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
The Johnny Ball Game Show.
When you're dealing with important issues like insurance, you want to talk with a live person, in person. We are Reed and Associates. We're an independent insurance agency right here in LeGrand, and we specialize in home, auto, and Medicare insurance. We would love to talk to you today. Reed and Associates, real people to serve you.
All right, thanks for tuning in tonight. Thanks for coming back. We are here tonight bringing you live coverage, and we know just about anything can happen going live. The results are on their way here as we are speaking. We should have those any minute. We did hear from Robin Church, and I know many of you at home, and we too are waiting literally on pins and needles because there's a lot at stake here. But again, we want to go back to, we've got phenomenal candidates who are running for these different positions. At the same time, we do have specific candidates that I know you at home were hoping to hear those positive numbers, and unfortunately, we could not hear them just as you could not hear them. So let's talk about that. What are your feelings? What are you thinking right now?
Well, I'm nervous for everyone. I mean, we've been touting live results, and they're coming any minute. And so when we got Robin on the phone, I was, I think we were all on pins and needles and super excited to hear what the early results were, right, which is by no means what the end game will be. Still a long night ahead, but we were anxious to hear those results. So frustrating for us, frustrating for everybody at home. We're anxiously awaiting Brent to get back to the studio with those results so that we can see them and then give that information to you guys too.
Absolutely, and he is bringing the hard copy for us. The old-fashioned hard copy courier copy is on the way. But I would have to echo what Corinne's saying. Bree, what are you feeling? What are you thinking?
I am just on pins and needles waiting to see. I think it's going to be exciting to see just as the graph develops what's happening.
Yeah, and where these
We're not
candidates
waiting for
fell.
the graph. We're just going to grab the paper out of his hands and we're going to start.
Mug the guy as soon as he walks in the
graph.
door, and we're going to get those
right.
the numbers. But from what I could hear, there were substantial numbers that came out over the phone. They were so gargled. A couple of those I thought, okay, that is a substantial lead at this early stage in the game. So we will wait and find out. While we're waiting, another question has come up where I thought I would go to the panel of experts here.
I wish you'd stop calling us that.
Because we've got so much going on, not just in our county, but also in our state and in our country. And not to get into any political mess here, but I
you're
am
going
curious.
to.
I'm not going to, but I do have a question for you because I think this is important as we think about, we go into November, we've got a big time frame of elections where we need to make some decisions as a country and as a county. And here's the thing. We feel this sense of, in the larger larger metro areas, that there is a self-awareness of what they want and what is important to them. And sometimes in the rural markets, we are overlooked, and it's just a way of life. However, we sit here tonight, we're not going to apologize because we do have some specific things in mind, some specific issues in mind that are very important to the rural market, rural people. And so we want the best candidates who will represent us and what is important to us. So with that said, we talked earlier about a Union County united or divided, meaning we go into the national elections and we pick our candidates on the best choice that we can see. What do you think? Are we going in as a county united? This is what we see happening from a national level. Are we going in divided? Talk about that.
God, that's a tough question. So I think from a national level, I think we are politically divided. I think, but from a standpoint of like friends, neighbors, basic human, like mankind, we're united. And I think that's a tough position to be in. I think everybody wants to be on the same page. They want to feel that kumbaya feeling. And everybody's looking so hard for it right now, especially during COVID. They're just looking for like a little peace and a little quiet, a little hope. And they're looking for it anywhere that they can find it. But I think the political climate right now makes it more difficult to do that. So I think that's the challenge.
I think you're spot on. And I think the challenge will be from a national level of how do we know and how do we make those decisions that will best suit our needs here in little old Union County, because this is our world right now. So Bree, what are your thoughts around that?
It is this is our little world right now. I think going into it that unfortunately we are pretty divided. I hear a lot of my customers and colleagues complaining constantly that they feel that our voices are not heard on this side of the state. And so I think that causes a lot of division. And yeah.
It does, and there's a lot of hot topics out there. So we will be in tune with that as we move toward the national elections as well. So as we stand right now, today, at this time at 8:20 in the evening, on a work night, mind you, we are with bated breath waiting to get the results or the anticipated results from Brent, who's driving those down as we speak. I do want to ask, so some of you also asked about, Corinne had a chance to be involved in some of the other forums, the congressional forums, that actually were 2 nights.
They were.
So 2 nights.
Yeah, so it was a joint effort by the EOAlive TV crew, Brent and his crew, and the EO Media Group, which is the newspaper company that owns the Observer and the Baker City Herald. And we did that in conjunction with our other East Side newspapers that include the East Oregonian, the Hermiston Herald, the Blue Mountain Eagle, Wallowa County Chieftain, and we included Central Oregon as well because they're a part of that 2nd congressional district.
Right. A very large district.
A very large district. So
overwhelming.
the Bend Bulletin and the Redmond Spokesman were part of that too. Great turnout. I mean, we had great feedback from people that viewed over the course of those 2 nights, and it was actually 3 forums because there was a lot of candidates.
Right.
We had the Democratic Forum on Friday night, and then we held 2 forums on Saturday night, and had to divide that Republican group into 2 separate forums. Right. But like I said, great turnout from people online that were feeding questions to us to give to the candidates, and the candidates were very gracious to give us that time because they were all so busy with so many other forums, online forums, and virtual town halls that they were doing. But it was a great turnout, and we were happy to have them.
Yeah, it actually was a great turnout. And the thing that I think viewers at home, you need to know, it wasn't just hundreds, but thousands of people. And perhaps tens of thousands. I don't want to go out too far.
It was pretty amazing.
It was overwhelming, actually. And I know as I viewed that, it did help in the decision making when it came to which candidate we felt would suit our needs and further our agenda for Northeast Oregon. And so I want to thank you and your organization for putting that on.
Oh, yeah, of course. Thank you.
Oh, no, thank you. And so as with that in mind, I know that you're very active in our community, work for the Observer. I call you the editor, which I get in trouble doing that.
Not the editor.
She's in charge
I don't
of
want
all
that
of them
job.
or something. So, but give us one of your takeaways. We've asked a lot of these candidates tonight, what are your takeaways? What's something you learned from the campaign trail? But you as an individual, especially as you're a community activist very involved in our local community, tell us one of your takeaways from that.
So I think in my role, I tried very hard to divorce myself from sort of the publisher role and try to just look at myself as just a citizen and make my decisions always based on, especially during political season, it's always based on me as a citizen and what I would want for myself and my family, my friends and neighbors, not necessarily, it's never about, what would be best for the newspaper or anything like that. It's always based on me as a citizen. Right. This was a really interesting year. I mean, obviously with the COVID pandemic and the sheriff's race was highly contested. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of mudslinging that sort of came out at the end, which was unfortunate. It was a challenging year.
It was, but it speaks to the passion
Absolutely.
behind that race. And the men running and the people supporting them were very passionate, and you cannot fault, and I know you're not, but
absolutely not.
We welcome it.
If we wouldn't have seen that, we would have wondered if they cared. And the reason that we saw people come out in force like that and to have such strong emotions is because they absolutely care about the position. And I believe that all 4 of the candidates really want what's best for Union County, and I believe that they felt very strongly about their platform and what they stood for. So
I think you're right, and I know you're right, because all 4 were very clear in their messaging, as well as the other candidates. So I just heard and found out we do have the results. Okay, so we've got results, and so it's going to come on the screen. So we're going to give you the results, and thank you for hanging in there with us, and thank you, Brent Clapp, for running down here and getting that done. So we're going to see our sheriff results first. So let's see those results. Okay, so it looks like results have come in as we preliminarily look at these. It looks like there is definitely a race between Cody Bowen, who has got 2,938 votes, 40% of the vote. Bill Miller came in with 26% of the vote. Boyd Rasmussen came in at 26% of the vote, dead even on that one. Wow. And Shane came in at 7%. So these are phenomenal results. And any big surprises there? To my co-hosts, anything you see there that is a shock?
So I guess I'm a little bit surprised to see that they aren't more even, because I really thought that this was going to be a tighter race. Mm-hmm. The one that people are going to be watching now is sort of between Bill Miller and Boyd Rasmussen to see what happens there, where they're each sitting at 26. They're splitting half of the vote there. Mm-hmm.
Very interesting.
But it's very early in the night too.
It is. Now, from what I understand, the majority of the ballots have been cast, from what we understand, and counted. Okay. But we don't know to the extent of what is still yet to come in. So as of now, this is where we're pretty much going to be seated. Bree, what are your thoughts when you see these numbers?
I don't want to call anything, but it looks like Cody Bowen is creeping up towards that 50% mark.
Yeah.
Outlying counties we haven't seen yet.
So,
which could make a huge difference when you're looking at, Shane Rollins he grew up in Imbler. So you've got people that have, that have
and I believe
a lot of
supporters too. So there's
big supporters from the outlying areas, and they could definitely drive those numbers a different direction. So I honestly, it's still, to me, way too early to call. Anything.
Okay. So then the 50%, the concept of that 50% rule, meaning, again, remind our viewers.
Right. And if we have one candidate that gets over that 50%, if they have 51% of the vote, they will just automatically win.
They're it. Okay. Right. Very interesting. Okay. So thank you for these numbers. Very, very interesting preliminary numbers. Okay. So now we're going to go to Republican congressional numbers. Let's see those numbers, if we could, please. And this could be pretty tight. So we are looking, all right, scanning it pretty quickly. We've got Cliff Bentz coming at 32%, with a substantial number of votes coming in there too.
So interesting to see Newt Bueller at only 18%, especially when we can compare to the other graphs that we were looking at as far as his spending was concerned, or campaign donations and his Facebook likes, which are not correlating at all with where he's standing. Again, it's really early, but...
And also, too, and guys who got this data for us, this is just Union County, is that correct? I believe this is...
I'm sure this is.
Okay, so this is just Union County. So this is, from a Union County perspective, this is where we fell. So interesting. So we've got Cliff Bent sitting at 32%, if I'm looking at these numbers correctly. Jason Atkinson, 25% of the vote. Newt Bueller came in at 18% of the vote, and Jimmy Crumpacker came in at 17% of the vote. Which
That's a little closer than I would have expected.
That is, I'll confess to you, that is much closer than I think anyone would have expected. And there again, viewers at home, you never know until this is done.
Can you guys confirm with us, this is just Union County votes, because those numbers look huge for just Union County voters. Okay.
All right, so we're going to double check these numbers as far as, are they just Union County? Is it Baker, Union, Wallowa? So we're going to get information for you on exactly which counties are represented here. So we're going to go to...
County Commissioner?
County Commissioner. Let's see the County Commissioner race. Okay, so as we are waiting for the County Commissioner race numbers to come in and see those percentages, we've got two extraordinary candidates, and it looks like those numbers are coming up right now, here in a second. Again, this was one of those races, and my co-host helped me with this because, oh, here we go. Okay, yeah, we knew, okay, thought it'd be much closer. Interesting.
And again, now we're looking at the fact that we don't have the outlying areas. We're not reporting those votes yet. You have Donna Beveridge, who's from Union. You have Michael Berry, who's from Imbler.
Yeah.
So it would be, it'll be interesting to see later in the evening as those votes in the outlying areas, as they come in, how that skews the percentage.
It will be. So we've got, for the viewers at home, we've got our earbuds in, and we're hearing from our back room and back office, and they're telling us a little more information and detail. As we get it, we will deliver it to you. And so as we understand the numbers as they are today, and guys who are hearing me in our back office, this is all of Union County, or is this just, it's got to be all of Union County? Okay. All right, so thank you. So this is Union County. The previous were the state totals, and that's why those numbers look off.
Yeah, they seemed a little...
Okay, so we've got state totals on the congressional race. This is Union County, all of Union County. These are the numbers for Union County. So it looks like Donna Beveridge is coming in at 65% of the vote. Michael Berry is coming in at 35% of the vote. I hate to call a race, and I don't know if that's something really we should do
If you want to do that, you can do that, but I don't know that Bree and I want to be involved in that.
I don't blame you. I know I'm putting myself out there. It is tough to call these races, and for you who are at home, no matter who you supported, we would have to agree that both candidates, outstanding people, with 65% of the vote, it's going to be a challenge for Michael to come back and overtake that race. I'll just be candid. All right, we're going to go to Congressional Democrat, the Democratic race. Now this is a statewide results, as I understand it. So here we go.
And a much smaller pool than we saw with the Republicans.
Okay, so we've got a two-way tie there, 32% of the vote with Alex Spencer, and Nick is coming in at 32% as well. The nearest one is Chris Vaughn at 18%. And so looking at the total votes, we've hit the 10,000 mark for the two top candidates. It's pretty much a split there, 32%. Any thoughts what you're seeing here?
No, that's going to be a close one. And we talked to Alex earlier. I'm not surprised to see her, doing so well, obviously, for the Democratic nominee race. She was very well spoken when I talked to her during the first forum, and then talking to her tonight. So I'm not surprised to see that she's doing so well.
Yeah, and we couldn't get Nick on the. I don't believe we talked to Nick.
We didn't
on the
talk
phone.
to Nick.
No, we did not talk to Nick on the phone tonight. And just to be clear, it's not that we pick and choose who we were going to speak to. We did reach out to all the candidates, as far as I am aware, and we invited them all to participate tonight. Some were able to, some were not. Some had a very busy schedule and had other engagements. And so we do understand and we thank those who could participate. We're also thankful for those who could not participate because their heart would have been here if they could.
Absolutely. And we were fortunate enough to have John Holm and Chris Vaughn on the phone with us tonight too.
Right.
So we appreciate that they were able to take the time to do that.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're going to go now to the Secretary of State run. And again, that is a statewide vote. We should see some statewide numbers come in for that as well. This was stacking up to be a tight race, and it is. There you go. So we've got 3 in that 20% mark. 3 of them, yeah. 100. Okay, look at the number of votes there: 125, 135, 155. Kim Thatcher, it looks like, is leading when it comes to Oregon Secretary of State at 29% with 155,000, 156,000 realistically. So talk about any big surprises here.
I don't know that I see any big surprise. I think that this is going to be another one that people are going to be watching for the next couple of hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, another thing too to bring up, Oregon Secretary of State is typically come in as more a Democrat than Republican. And in this runoff, we've got Kim, who is a Republican.
For the time being.
Coming in for the time being. But let's pay very close attention because we've got let's see, Mark coming in, who is a Democrat, at 25%, and that 155 to 135,000 number could eventually be overtaken. So we are seeing these preliminary results. Not sure where this is going to go. This one, yeah, I'm not comfortable calling this one. I don't know.
Oh, come on, Bob.
I'm not a gambling man on this, but I think this is very, very interesting to see these preliminary results. And it could be perhaps the Republicans are more passionate in getting their votes in early, if they could have, or perhaps we see a lag in the Democratic vote. Who knows?
Could be.
Yeah, who knows? Okay, so other results. Anything else that we can report on tonight that you might have? Okay, so we just heard through our little earpiece, we don't have any more updates. Those were the numbers as we received them through Robin Church up at the county, as well as our statewide election office as well. So pretty exciting times for us. We do see some changes happening there. We see some changing of the guard. We see some established continuing. Some of these races are too close to call and not that brave. Okay, so we are going to run these charts one more time for you. Okay, so if you're in shock or you're in awe or you're happy or you're sad
or you were getting popcorn,
whatever it may be. So let's run these very, very quickly. So here we go, the 2nd Congressional District, and it just went away. There we go. 2nd Congressional District. This is a Republican nominee. And frankly, we saw Newt Bueller as the forerunner based on his spending, based on his social media. And what we've got here is we've got Cliff Bentz, who is coming in at 32% of the vote. So Jason Atkinson, 25% on his coattails, so to speak, coming right behind him. Jimmy Crumpecker at 17%, and Newt, where'd he go? 18%.
And our local boy, Travis Fager's got 4%. It's good to see him.
There we go. And Travis Fager, 4%. And there's an interesting story out of itself with Travis. Local guy, feeling called to do something good for the community. His first time ever running for public office. And I think a few of these are the same way.
Well, and then we have Jeff Smith, who we talked to tonight from Elgin, and he's on the board too with 2%. It's nice to see them on there.
It is, and they're local guys. So very, very proud of them. Appreciate all their efforts. So, okay, so there we go. There's our 2nd Congressional District. Interesting outcomes so far. Let's go to the Democratic nomination race for the 2nd Congressional District as well. And again, this one is interesting. So we've got dead even with Alex and Nick, who are at 32%.
And I expect, honestly, to see Chris Vaughn creeping up there, too. I think it's just, this one's really early.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how he does, because, again, we're looking at 10,737, 10,828 votes for Nick and Alex. Chris is coming in at 6,200. So there is some ground to be made up, and it'd be curious to see if that can happen. So, and for you who are at home, please understand, we're half teasing about calling, an election, this is the winner, because we saw this happen in national elections in the past where media outlets will call the election and then come to find out there's a last minute push because of ballots that had not been counted yet. So we are less excited to call votes here. but we just want to give you, in its purity, these are the numbers.
Well, and just a reminder too, we've talked about this a couple times tonight, the sheer size of the 2nd Congressional District. So just looking at the number of votes that have actually been counted so far, those numbers are super low when you compare them to the number of registered voters that are in that district. So we should be seeing, there's still a lot of votes out there to be counted.
There are, and we don't know the voter turnout yet. Okay.
Oh, we've got updated sheriff numbers.
All right, so here we go. Now this is updated as just a few minutes ago.
Tight.
So here we go. We got Cody Bowen coming in at 41%, and we've got Boyd and Bill at pretty much 25%.
They're within 100 votes of each other right now.
Yeah, that is some good campaigning there. And of course, Shane's coming in at 7%. However, Shane, fairly new to the public. He's done a phenomenal job, very articulate, well-spoken. Phenomenal conversationalist. So we'll see where that goes as well, but a good run. It's very, very interesting. So I'm not sure, again, I would be comfortable in calling this because as these update, who knows where it's going to go. So you're saying you will not call this?
Oh, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
No.
So Cody is at the 41%, I believe. Last look, he was around the 38, 35? 40%. So we were seeing an uptick in that. So as these votes continue to come in, we will definitely look at those. I did get the impression, though, that a majority had been counted. So I'm curious to see how much more of these numbers actually move. Okay. So yes, I was just reminded, we still have from our outlying areas, some of the Elgins, the Imblers, Unions. Yeah, there's a lot of job boxes yet that need to be gathered and collected.
And brought into town.
Okay, so we still have that. And okay, so that will speak to when you look at, say, the Bill Millers of the world. He is in Elgin, I believe. And so, Bill, we may not have all of Elgin's count yet. So looking forward to that as well. Not sure. Okay, so we have updated numbers for the county commissioner. It doesn't sound like much changed here. So we've still got the 64%, 36%. Donna Beveridge is leading the pack in that. Again, though, we go back to those drop boxes, and we're not sure we've got all those counted yet. So I'm tempted to call it because of the percentages, but then I look at the numbers and I think, oh boy, the votes, don't do it. I will not do it. Okay, for you who are at home and you're seeing these numbers, again, this should help us just identify and understand where this race is going, this election 2020 for Union County is going. And your quite frankly, your thoughts, your feelings, and your direction on what you want to see happening. All the candidates, hopefully you've heard their messaging. Oh, we've just got Secretary of State update. It doesn't look like much changed on that one. Okay, so nope, nothing really has changed. So Kim Thatcher is still leading at 29% with about 156,000 votes. So that's a good margin.
And this will be one that people are going to be watching again for another couple hours. It's just too close for a few of these candidates.
Too close. And again, this is statewide. So I will say, though, as we mentioned earlier, it's very interesting to see when you look at the different parties that are involved, the Republican, Democrat parties, and typically this position has been held by a Democrat as long as I can remember. So we've got a Republican in the lead at this time. So not sure how to articulate what that means. Again, we don't know how much of the vote is still yet to be counted, and we don't know the voter turnout. On some years, as you at home know this, and you guys know this, voter turnout will make a big difference. If we have a low voter turnout, there's our results.
Right. And, is it COVID related this year? Is the voter turnout going to be lower because people were just not, even though we're vote by mail, and a lot of states are not, were there people that just, they were too wrapped up in everything that was going on and just, for whatever reason, didn't feel like it was a priority. I'll be interested to see what the turnout is.
It will absolutely be interesting. And hopefully, you who are in Union County did get out and vote. And we heard some of the candidates mention that tonight. I hope you voted. I hope you voted. And as you're out and about, you should have received your ballot, should be done and in. So thank you for voting, for those who did vote. Okay, we've got some mentions that we want to thank, some folks who made tonight possible. So EO and I, we want to thank Jeff at Eastern Oregon Net Incorporated.
Grand Round Hospital?
Grand Round Hospital, Oh, they were Grand Round Hospital, big, they're big city medicine, hometown touch. It's beautiful. All right, wingmandigital.com. Thank you for your sponsorship.
Loveland Funeral Chapel and the Safe Ride program. Thank you, Kevin.
Yes.
Thank you, Kevin.
Very important, Kevin. Thank you. Phenomenal people. Marketplace Family Fresh Foods, which is our local grocery store. In fact, the studio is directly right across from Marketplace, where the 4th Street Bistro lies, where we heard the Wasteland Kings. And so we want to thank you them. And word is that they provided food. Now, I have not had a chance to dive into that food back there.
The food was delivered about 3 minutes before we went on the air.
I am starving, but always good, always fresh, hence the name. But it was fun to see Wasteland Kings performing there at their bistro. So good sponsorships. And thanks to all of our other sponsors as well. Okay, as we wrap this up tonight, we want to thank you for tuning in. Any last words from our famous panel of experts tonight?
No, it was an exciting night. I was happy to be here. I'm excited to see how the next couple hours goes for those races that were closer than we were expecting. So it'll be interesting to see.
Just can't wait to see how everything turns out, and we'll be watching with bated breath.
Awesome. Yes, absolutely. So for you who are at home, I hope you had a chance to answer our polling question that we posed to you earlier today. And thank you for tuning in. We have all our sponsors, Brent Clapp Media Services, and these amazing co-hosts, my panel of experts. I'm Bob Kavanaugh, and again, thank you for tuning in, and we will do our best to keep you posted, but be sure to check these election results as they continue to pour in. Exciting times for Union County and our future. So thank you again for tuning in.
Thanks, Union County.
Have a great night.